This man is an invincible presence in the apocalypse. Not only have they hoarded billions of supplies to build their own base, but also subdued the boss of the zombie world to serve as their lacking. Even the myriad sea creatures worship him as the Sea King. They come to the seaside punctually every month to admire his divine might, hoping to be fortunate enough to receive the king's blessing. Just as the sea creatures were wondering why they had yet to see the Sea King, Chen Luo, accompanied by the Sea Princess and janitors, suddenly appeared at the seaside to avoid walk. Seeing this, the sea creatures immediately knelt down and called out in unison greetings to the great Sea King. At that moment, the Red Lantern Fish spoke, obsequiously reporting to the Great Sea King there are 126 sea tribes qualified to attend the gathering. 120 to have arrived, there are still 14 absent. Hearing this, Shan Luo was immediately enraged. Mark down those who didn't show up during the disdain. My divine might, I will not be lenient. At this moment, Shan Liu also noticed two sea creatures transformed into human form. The female was very gentle looking, while the male was showing off his muscular upper body. These two were not accelerated by Chen Luo time powers yet. They had quickly advanced to king level. He thought to himself, these two are already mature sea creatures, male use, and raising them further might as well perhaps find a reason to kill them. Seeing the Sea King's gaze on them, the female immediately knelt down with a splash. Baby greets the great Sea King, but the man stood still unmoving. Seeing this, Chen Luo immediately asked, why do you not kneel unexpectedly? The other party did not regard to Chen Luo at all and retorted, I am not accustomed to kneeling. At those words, all the sea creatures shouted in unison, Swordfish, how dare you be so bold? Even we without legs can kneel, can't you with legs? To the same, you are clearly showing contempt for the divine might have the Sea King. Hearing this, Chen Luo appeared expressionless, but inside, he was secretly pleased. Isn't this the opportunity to eradicate the roots? Seeing the situation turning back, the swordfish transformed back into its original form, ready to flee. Monitoring you spineless creatures can kneel, only fools would believe he has divine power. Goodbye. Seeing this, Chen Luo did not indulge it, and immediately used a spatial exile to pull it back, trying to run. Do you have the ability? At this moment, the swordfish was a bit stunned before it could understand the situation. It hurt you, Chen Luo, show her to behold my divine power. Time stop, freeze it from me. He then quickly signaled John Joshua with his eyes. John Chuchua. John Chuchua was also very perceptive and promptly cast time stop on the swordfish. The next second, the Sea Princess appeared in front of the swordfish with a divine sword, shouting, you dare to disrespect my brother, die. This scene shocked all the sea creatures. They all declare, indeed, the divine power of the great Sea King is profound and unfathomable. The swordfish was truly frozen in midair, unable to move. As soon as the words fell, the Sea Princess swiftly decapitated it with a slash of her sword. Seeing the situation, Chen Liu immediately started to talk nonsense with a straight face. 2 years ago, as the Sea King, I bestow endless divine power upon the sea tribes. That's why he had the chance to transform him into human form. I'm grateful for the blessings. For me, his death is indeed not pitiable. At these words, all the sea creatures shouted in agreement, well deserved. Without the Sea King's blessing, how could our strength possibly grow so fast? The Sea King is awesome. We swear to follow the Sea King to the death. It must be said that Qinyue was indeed good at bluffing. Then he said solemnly, Red Lantern Fish, tell me the top 5 performers from last month who transported humans. I will bestow divine power upon them. But to his surprise, the great sea turtle, not hearing its name, became unhappy, quickly claiming my performance was the best. Why isn't my name there? Hearing this, the vertical river turtle monitored to itself, cousin, you're so brave to dare to question the Sea King right to his face. Hearing this, Jin Luo did not blame him, but explained, you've already received the blessing once. If you want to reach above king level, the divine power required will be a bit much. Your current performance is not enough. Wait until it is, and I will naturally bestow divine power upon you. Upon hearing this, the great sea turtle immediately expressed gratitude. Thank you for your cultivation, Sea King. I will work even harder in the future. But at this moment, Baby suddenly came over and said, it's my first time seeing the Sea King. I didn't prepare any gifts, so I offer one of my companion pearls. It can greatly enhance the effects of ice powers. I hope the Sea King will kindly accept it. I wonder if I have the good fortune to serve by your side. Chen Luo verbally refused. How can I take such a precious treasure from you? His body was honest, readily taking the pearl offered by Bebe, and said, since you are so sincere, I will reluctantly accept it. From now on, you will serve as my mate alongside Red Lantern Fish. But at that moment Wen Zhongguai suddenly sent a telepathic message to Jin Luo. Immortal Chen Zombie Emperor Big Strong has just obtained a king-level crystal. Hurry over. Without a second word, Chen Luo used Void Walker to arrive at Big Strong space. Then immediately praised him. You did well, kid, to have killed the king-level mutant. Hearing this, Big Strong was shocked, muttering to himself, I haven't even warmed up this crystal and Big Brother already knows. No need to think, it must have been that traitor who told him. It seems this kid can't be kept around. Seeing this, Big Strong didn't lie and immediately took out the king-level crystal and offered it to his big brother. Although he was reluctant in his heart, if Big Brother wanted it, what use was there in hiding it? It was better to hand it over proactively to make a good impression. Seeing Big Strong proactive approach, Chen Luo was taken aback in him. Immediately expressed, what kind of person do you take your big brother for? This is something you exchanged with your life. How can I accept it? Your goodwill. Big Brother appreciates it, secretly thinking when the monster onslaught comes, Big Strong's combat power cannot be underestimated. Keeping it to enhance his own strength is more prudent. With this in mind, Kun Liu immediately said, with a smile, actually brother came here just to tell you, if you obtain high-level corpses in the future, remember to keep them from me, have a use for them. If there's nothing else, Big Brother will take his lead first. Upon hearing this, Big Strong hurriedly said, Big Brother, wait a minute, to take this guy away too. I have endured him for a long time. He does nothing at my base, and that's bad enough, but even dared to flirt with my female zombie subordinates. Hearing this, Chen Luo bladder trembled, nearly wetting himself with fright, and he thought to himself, this guy is quite the heavy taste, harboring such special fetuses. Under the strong insistence of both Big Strong and Wen Zhongguai, Chen Luo had no choice but to agree to take him back to Dawn City. After returning to the base, Rice immediately ran excitedly towards Jin Luo, shouting, this is great, you're finally back. Then she pounced on Jin Luo, knocking him to the ground. Come with me right now, this instant. I have a fortune to offer you. Hearing this, Jin Luo was overjoyed, thinking that if Rice calls a fortune, and it must be immensely beneficial for him. At that moment, Rice said, in a deep voice, since the journey this time is rather long, it would be more convenient for me to transform and lie on your shoulder. After saying this, Rice transformed into a cat and jumped onto his shoulder. And then Shan Luo followed Rice's directions, used void walking. 2.5 hours later, they finally arrived at the destination, Flying Continent. Rice said, your fortune is not yet here. You need to wait patiently. During this time, you absolutely cannot leave. And there is a certain risk associated with this opportunity. So be very careful. Hurry and send me back first. Hearing this, Shanlu immediately used spatial banishment to send Rice back to Dawn City. And he himself immediately changed into his divine attire, quietly waiting for the opportunity to come. Sure enough, after waiting for 2 days, Shan Luo finally saw the fortune that Rice had mentioned. A giant mutant fell from the sky and, judging from your right, emitted its strength had definitely reached the emperor level. Chen Liu, who had lived for 12 years in his previous life, had only seen king-level mutants. Emperor level was unheard of. Chen Luo then daydreamed about the emperor-level crystal. He Rice, forever a goddess, frightened a mutant zombie, which then turned its head towards Chen Liu. You've been behind me all this time. What do you want? Hearing this, Shan Luo grinned and said, I just wanted to see what an emperor-level zombie looks like. Now that I had, it's nothing special. The mutant didn't waste words and immediately rose from the ground and shot towards him, then swung a close Chen Luo, which he narrowly dodged with a leak before the mutant could react. Chen Luo had already early teleported behind it, preparing to release the dimensional blade at close range. Unexpectedly, the zombie didn't retreat, but raised its claw ready to take him head-on. This shocked Chen Luo, who was about to unleash his big move, thinking to himself, if I insist on releasing the dimensional blade at close range, the instant it hits, I'll be pierced by its claw. Realizing this, Chen Lu immediately stopped his motion and quickly used void walking to avoid the mutant's deadly strike. This terrified the mutant to no end. He hurriedly shouted, how can a human be so fast? But before it could finish its sentence, Shan Luo quickly retaliated with a time-slowing technique on his opponent while accelerating time for himself. After a back and forth and speed, the mutant's pace in the eyes of Jin Luo seemed to slow as a snail. Easily dodging the mutant's attack, Chen Luo in turn unleashed the void sword. He then thrust it fiercely towards its brow. However, this strike did not deal a fatal blow to the emperor-level adversary. Seeing this, Chen Luo did not dally. Immediately, he swung another sword, severing one of its arms. At this moment, Although Jin Luo seemed to easily have the upper hand, his energy expenditure was actually quite significant. Time acceleration and time deceleration are both skills that continuously drain his special abilities. The battle had to be concluded quickly, otherwise, once his energy was depleted, escaping from an emperor-level powerhouse would be quite difficult. With this in mind, Kun Liu immediately took the voice sword and advanced towards the mutant. Is scared of witless, it hurriedly shouted, "Young hero, spare my life, isn't conceding enough for you?" Mention Luke coldly said, "Surrendering is fine, leave your life behind." In the next second, a flash of cold light swept across its neck. Seeing this, Chen Luo did not hesitate. He quickly stepped forward and created a brain hole and the creature. He monitored to himself, "No wonder Rice said she was giving me an opportunity. This time, I've made a fortune with this emperor-level crystal. In 1 month, I could advance to emperor level in this creature's body. I'll feed it to the enchanting tree. If it produces less than 6 king-level fruits, it will." Afterwards, Chen Luo immediately returned to base to begin absorbing the crystal. After 1 month of absorption, he finally reached the moment of advancing to emperor level. The next second, a piercing agony instantly spread throughout his body, making him experience the feeling of worse than death. After enduring 2 minutes of torment, Chen Luo finally exhaled and relief. Although the process of advancing to emperor level was excruciating, he remembered clearly that it was still easier than in his previous life. Could it be that my advancement this life is not so only due to absorbing the crystal, but also partly due to consuming the fruits? Regardless, if I want to break through again in strength, the total number of king-level crystals and fruits needed would be at least in the 1000s. Even if all the king-level powerhouses of the apocalypse were killed, it would not be half of what is needed. Let's not dwell on this matter for now. Today is the day of the marine life gathering. Let's head to the seaside first. As Chen Luo made his sudden appearance, all the marine life began to call out in unison, "Greetings, Lord Sea King." Then Chen Luo said in a deep voice, "Red Lantern Fish, report the attendance situation." Upon hearing this, she immediately bound reporting to Lord Sea King. There are 146 qualified to attend the 3rd Marine Life Conference. 138 are present, and 9 from the Sea Tribe, who were absent last time, we have forcibly brought here to await Lord Sea King's disposition. As she spoke, she ordered her subordinates to bring forth the absentees. Then Chen Luo smiled slightly, considering it's your first offense. I will spare your lives this time. Take them back and detain them for 1 year. If there's a next time, I will not be so lenient. Although Kun Luo verbally expressed his intention to spare them, his inner thoughts were focused on waiting until they grew to king level, at which point he would promptly eliminate them. At this moment, the marine creatures were still foolishly shouting their thanks for Sea King's mercy. Suddenly a shark spoke anxiously, reporting to Sea King, "I had urgent news." In fact, 2 of the marine creatures who didn't show up today didn't just not come, they were eaten by a sea serpent on their way here. Luckily, I swim fast enough to narrowly escape a similar fate. Upon hearing this, Chen Luo immediately became furious and shouted, "Such opacity to defy my authority and slaughter my subjects! No matter where the sea serpent hides, I will make it pay for its actions. All sea clansmen, my command, set out immediately and find it." The sea serpent, now terrified by the massive hunt orchestrated by the sea's formidable creatures, monitored to itself, "It was just to marine creatures. Is there a need to make such a fuss over me?" Despite its complaint, the sea serpent had to surface to avoid the relentless pursuit. But just as it breached the water, a glowing hand reached out and grabbed it with no resistance, dragging it into a block of ice. A flash of dark luster passed and the ice block seemed to vanish seamlessly, blending into the vast icy landscape as if nothing had happened. 3 days later, the marine creatures reported having turned the ocean upside down with no sign of the sea serpent. Red Lantern Fish hastily explained that they had indeed spotted it, but upon reaching the Antarctic it mysteriously disappeared without a trace. This infuriated Chen Luo, who immediately cursed them as a bunch of good-for-nothing drunkards. "So many of you chasing one sea serpent, and you let it escape. No matter, I want to see a body dead or alive. Issue the command, intensify the search." I refuse to believe that such a big serpent could just evaporate into thin air. If it's not in the sea, my men on land will find it. But just then Josie came with good news for Chen Luo. Rachin, our members reported finding the armor tanks on Plum Continent. Please hurry over to confirm. Without delay, Chen Luo used Voidwalker to reach Plum Continent, where the recently discovered armor was presented to him. Upon close examination, he noticed a faint line at the knee and intricate patterns made of mysterious runes inside. This had to be the pants of the armor set, he thought. If the set didn't include a belt or necklace, and he would have completed the set. With this thought, he eagerly put on the pants, eager to test out any special effects. He kept fiercely towards the sky, but was surprised to find no shocking wave of force. At that moment, Chin Luo was utterly perplexed, thinking to himself that it can't be possible that unlike all other set pieces with special abilities, these pants only improved defense. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Big Strong was vacationing at the beach with Thor and Queen, when they suddenly saw king-level strong men spewing flames at the sea. Without hesitation, Big Strong flew into the air, vowing not to let anyone disrupt his date. "You dare to ruin my outing? I'll make sure your head is wide open." With that, he threw a heavy punch at the flame-wielding individual, only for it to be blocked by John Bo's flame shield. Seeing this, John Bo didn't indulge it, and without a second word, he spewed out a scorching flame. However, to his surprise, his attack not only failed to harm Big Strong but even exposed his own flaw. Seizing the moment, Big Strong found the right opportunity, and with a counterpunch landed a heavy blow on his face. Struck by the punch, John Bo plummeted to the ground like a cannonball, watching a crowd of zombies smiling wickedly as they surrounded him, muttering about having a marine creature for a meal. John Bo shouted, "A bunch of small fries trying to gang up on me. Don't run away, and my backup arrives." Big Strong was unimpressed and retorted, "Even if you call for help, what will it do? Help collect your body." Before he could finish his sentence, dozens of king-level fighters arrived at the scene, shouting, "Who's the dead man who dared to cause this trouble?" At that moment, the bewildered Big Strong was a bit stunned, thinking to himself, when did king-level marine creatures become so plentiful? Moreover, their numbers kept increasing. Soon nearly 100 king-level marine creatures had arrived. Seeing this, Big Strong chose not to battle and admitted defeat. "Right there, bro. Don't get excited. It was all my fault just now. Let's talk this out." But before he could finish, John Bo slapped him with a loud smack across the face, shouting, "Weren't you acting all tough before? Why are you cowering now? Do you think you have the strength to fight me?" Then Red Lantern Fish coldly walked over and said, "Just kill him and be done with it. Don't waste Sea King's time with this." Hearing this, Big Strong immediately realized that the chance of escaping from so many king-level fighters was almost zero. His only option now is to call for help from his big brother. Meanwhile, on the other side, Kunli was considering how to help me lead breakthrough to Emperor level as quickly as possible, because when the monster descends, Mealy's role would be crucial. If they combine absorbing crystals and eating fruit, it might only take about 100 days to advance. However, this suggestion was immediately rejected by Rice, who said 100 days was too long and insisted on using time acceleration to assist her, or she wouldn't have time to understand her new abilities. Upon hearing this, Shan Liu hurriedly asked if there would be any side effects, to which Rice admitted there might be some, but nothing significant compared to the impending crisis. Upon hearing this, Melee immediately sent if Rice thought so, then he should go ahead with her plan, as she also wanted to help in the upcoming crisis. Shan Lula was touched and immediately took Melee into his arms. But at that moment, Josie suddenly came running over, shouting, "Big trouble, Brother Chen! Big Strong has sent a distress signal saying he's in mortal danger, and the enemy so formidable that you wouldn't be blamed for not going." Upon hearing this, Chin Luo turned pale with shock, thinking to himself, what kind of terrifying being could it be that would make Big Strong say such a thing? Could it be an Emperor-level fighter? Without further thought, Chen Luo immediately sent a telepathic message to Big Strong, reassuring him, "Don't panic, Big Brother is on his way." With this message, Big Strong felt emboldened and shouted, "I've got backup, to just you wait." As his voice fell, Chen Luo used a spatial ability to appear at the scene. Instantly seeing him, Big Strong quickly cried out, "Big Brother, I'm here." At this declaration, all the marine creatures were shocked and started exclaiming, "Isn't that Sea King? How could he be the brother of a zombie?" Taken aback, Chen Luo paused, realizing a case of mistaken identity. Meanwhile, Big Strong still cluelessly sent a telepathic message to Jin Luo, "Isn't this weird, Big Brother? All these guys are king level. Maybe we should just run away with Thor and Queen." But as soon as he finished speaking, the marine creatures all knelt before Chin Luo and shouted in unison, "Heal Sea King!" At this moment, Big Strong was utterly dumbfounded. My big brother is the Sea King. He found a person before him both familiar and strange, always knowing his brother was mysterious, but never to this extent. Just then John Bo mustered the courage to ask Lord Sea King, "Is this zombie really your brother?" Chen Luo thought that it was time to reveal the truth, as they would need to work together in the future. But being the Sea King and declaring brotherhood with a zombie was indeed inappropriate. Wondering how to explain, Shan Luo had a flash of inspiration and began to bluff with a serious talent. Back in my days of traveling the human world, I indeed took this lad as my junior. Now, we're all one of our own. Let's just let bygones be bygones, shall we? Hearing this, John Bo dared not say more and hurriedly suggested, no hard feelings after all. It's a case of no fight, no acquaintance. I doesn't brother. Big Strong hit me back. Understanding the situation, Did Strong immediately admitted his fault to asking John Bo for forgiveness. The Thorn Queen was confused at this moment, but still understood the gravity of the situation. When Big Strong signaled his followers to come and pay respects to the big brother, Thorn Queen was the first to kneel down. The whole scene had thoroughly shocked her, forcing her to submit to this human. After resolving the issue at hand, Shan Liu will return to the base to assist Melee with time acceleration. During this process, he had a revelation. He thought of combining his time and space abilities to create a space where time flowed slower than the outside world. With this in mind, Kun Liu immediately began to merge the two abilities, quickly creating a specific space-time area. Seeing this, Melee asked with curiosity, "Brother Chin Luo, what is this?" But no sooner had Melee asked the question mentioned, Luo spat out a mouthful of blood, startling Melee considerably. She cried out in alarm, "Husband, what's wrong with you? Why are you suddenly injured?" As Melee quickly cast the healing spells, Chen Luo insisted he was fine even though the episode had shattered his crystal, just like the first time he had us time acceleration. Shan Luo then spoke in a grave tone, "Quick, go get me to clocks." He began to test the temporal flow within the space-time area, and after staying inside for 3 minutes, he was pleasantly surprised to find that only 1 minute had passed outside. This meant Melee's advancement speed could be increased threefold, while he could also attend to other matters. However, he was unsure how long the space-time area could be maintained, and thus, it was crucial not to waste any time inside it. With this in mind, Chen Luo immediately decided that the area should be used in rotation by Melee and the Sea Princess to maximize its utility. However, this suggestion was met with opposition from Rice, who insisted that Melee be allowed to advance to Emperor level first and that the Sea Princess should not use the area before that. Hearing this, Chen Luo turned pale, wondering if Rice had predicted that the Sea Princess might go berserk again after her advancement. It seemed his plan to have a sister play along with his act would have to be delayed. A month and a half later, after Melee had advanced to Emperor level and was excitedly looking for the Sea Princess, having realized a divine purification skill during her advancement. Concerned that his sister might occasionally go berserk due to consuming mysterious meat, Chen Luo had Melee purified a Sea Princess's heart of any murderous desires. Although the Sea Princess was reluctant, she complied at her brother's request. Without hesitation, Melee performed the divine purification on the Sea Princess. As the purify light slowly entered her body, the icy look in the Sea Princess's eyes began to soften. Melee continued to release the purification non-stop for more than 10 minutes until her abilities were drained, yet she could not fully suppress the murderous intent within the Sea Princess. This made Chen Luo of scalp tingle with unease. Realizing that even the Emperor level Melee could not completely remove the negative influence of the meat, it was a sobering reminder of how terrifyingly powerful the owner of the divine armor must have been. At that moment, Shan Liu finally understood why zombies could advance without absorbing crystals. If the owner of the divine armor was associated with darkness, then everything made sense. After his mysterious death and the subsequent explosion of his body, the dark and evil energy within him had spread across the globe, giving rise to the species of zombies. These energies could only be absorbed by zombies, allowing them to survive without food. Survivors, on the other hand, improved their levels by absorbing the zombies' crystals. This meant that the survivors were indirectly absorbing the power of the divine armor's owner. His blood and power contaminated the land, leading to the emergence of mutated creatures. His flesh fed the creatures that ate it, inducing rapid evolution. His weapons and armor scattered across the world were instrumental in the proliferation of life. When a whale falls, myriad creatures thrive. As for the most important crystals, were they taken by the one who killed him? If so, Chen Luo hoped that person had simply taken the crystals and left, for if he could kill the original owner of the divine armor, who could stand against him? The forthcoming monster invasion was most likely in search of the divine armor and its crystals. With the information at hand, Shan Luo deduced the true nature of the apocalypse piece by piece. Pulling his thoughts together, he took a deep breath, resolving to prepare for the upcoming monster onslaught. Thinking ahead, He quickly asked Melee how many people had reached level 10. Melee immediately responded that there were 56. Curious about his question, she asked why he wanted to not. Chen Luo requested Melee pass along the message to prepare these 56 members for advancement to king level and to inform them about the imminent monster descent. They had the choice to accept his help to advance quickly, but those who did had to fight at the forefront, with cowardice being met with death. He also asked to convey a message to Shelzi to notify the sea tribes to convene the 4th Oceania Creatures Congress the next day. Having laid out his plans, Shan Luo then kissed me on the cheek, murmuring words of gratitude for hard work. Afterward, he approached the Sea Princess and shared with her a wild plan, as the 4th Oceanic Creatures Congress was convened. As usual, Chen Luo staggered to the seashore. The marine creatures were baffled by his appearance and expressed their concern, asking what had happened to him. Chen Luo, pale and weak, simply said, "It's a long story. What I want to know is if you all will swear eternal loyalty to me." Upon hearing Chen Luo's request for eternal loyalty, the vertical river turtle was the first to declare, "I swear to be loyal to you, Sea King, to the death. Whoever dares to harm you, I shall be the first to extinguish them." Debi also pledged, "I am willing to serve Sea King for life, unwavering until death." Red Lanternfish immediately bellowed, "My loyalty to Sea King can be witnessed by the sun and the moon." Following this, the marine creatures, one after another, shouted their oaths of loyalty to Sea King, proclaiming that if they were to break their vow, they should be struck by thunder from the heavens 5 times over. Chen Lu will feign extreme weakness, but inside he was chuckling to himself, "Who is truly loyal to me, we shall soon see." Then, with a dispirited expression, Chen Luo revealed, "A traitor has emerged among my confidants. While I was blessing the sea tribes, she stole I divine power, I divine armor, and even attempted to assassinate me. That traitor will likely be pursuing me soon. I need everyone to do their utmost to hold her off for 1 hour until I divine power can be restored." But before he could finish, a voice filled with cold murderous intent echoed along the shoreline, "Sea King, your time has come." As the voice fell, a figure clad in purple armor wielding the king's sword appeared midair, the antagonist of the day, the Dark Witch Sea Princess. At that moment, John Bao coldly challenged, "Who dares to disrespect Sea King? To strike at a god, you must step over my dead body." As soon as these words fell, Sea Princess exuded a terrifying aura, her voice emanating a chilling coldness. "Today I'm only here to execute Sea King. Those who don't wish to die, stay out of the way, or be ready to face a god's wrath." Upon hearing this, Red Lanternfish immediately roared with righteous indignation, "What arrogance! Not only do you insult Sea King's majesty, you dare to commit beside everyone. Follow me. Let's fight to buy time for Sea King." That under the direction of Red Lanternfish, the sea creatures launched a ferocious offensive against Sea Princess. Would have an emperor-level fighter. If so many attacks hit, surely she cannot withstand them, they thought, which was why the sea creatures remained somewhat calm to everyone's horror. However, Sea Princess, who had taken so many hits, did not suffer even a scratch. It became evident that this woman had indeed stolen Sea King's divine power, or she would not have been able to defend like this. Then with a sneer, Sea Princess Otter, "You had the choice at heaven, yet you did not walk it. Hell had no gate, yet you've broken through it." With these words, she unleashed a devastating ground-splitting slash towards the sea. In the next second, the marine creatures were catapulted into the air like flying fish. Seeing this, Chen Luo, the drama king, didn't dawdle and instantly pretended to be blown away by the shockwave with great exaggeration. As Zhang Luo touched the ground, Sea Princess suddenly appeared before the Sea King in a blink, and the climax was set to unfold. With a shout from Sea Prince as commanding Sea King, "Meet your demise," a massive dark magic missile fiercely shot towards Jin Luo, who now had no escape. Just as the missile was about to hit, a shadowy figure suddenly swooped in front of him. At this critical moment, it was Red Lanternfish who stepped forward, taking the fatal blow for the Sea King, whispering with her dying breath, "As long as I stand, you shall not harm the Sea King in the slightest." Chen Luo, witnessing this scene, stood frozen, taken aback by the unexpected loyalty of Red Lanternfish. And Sea Princess, clapping her hands, mockingly said, "Such loyalty to one's master is truly touching. However, Sea King, you can't escape your fate today." She proceeded to trap the marine creatures that had genuinely fought against her in a dark barrier, while those who were slackers or pretenders were left aside. Chen Luo urgently cried out, encouraging everyone to hold on. His divine power was on the verge of returning, asserting that with united efforts they could capture her with at most the loss of 20 or 30 comrades. Upon hearing this, some marine creatures stopped pretending and defected to the enemy, including Chen Luo's personal maid Bebe. Although it was all a play, directed by John Liu, the defection of so many creatures still disappointed him. Even Red Lantern Fish began to approach Baby. "How could you do this?" Baby retorted that she was Melee Sea King, a powerful patron, and did not wish to join Shin Luo in death. Just then Vertical River Turtle stealthily approached the Sea King. Lifting the weekend, Chin Luo proudly announced, "The Sea Princess, Great Sea Princess, have captured the Sea King for you. I am ready to serve you as the new deity of the sea." In the moment of Vertical River Turtle's smug satisfaction, Red Lantern Fish immediately cast a mental illusion spell, leaving Anne looking foolish and unwittingly releasing Jin Lu. Taking advantage of a situation, Big Sea Turtle wasted no time and employed the mountain's crushing weight technique, pinning Vertical River Turtle underneath. Filled with righteous fury, he berated, "You ungrateful beast, today I shall sever family ties and remove you, the calamity for the Sea King." Meanwhile, John Bo sought to buy time for the Sea King by facing Sea Princess alone, but Sea Princess, having taken a liking to the plot, instantly eliminated John Bo with a light of annihilation technique, murmuring that her brother had said that the play wouldn't be complete without the death of one or two sea creatures. However, this act of violence did not deter the loyal creatures, instead invoked their ferocity. They collectively roared, "For the glory of the Sea King, let's fight this battle out." At this juncture, Chen Luo, the overall director, had also found the answer. He saw the play and reached its end. He then pronounced with modulation in his voice, "Everyone has worked hard, my divine power has returned." He thought to himself that it was essential to play up to the situation. Failing to show even a hint of a miracle would simply lack flair. Chen Luo pointed to the sky and shouted loudly, "I say, do you believe in light?" As soon as the words fell, a holy beam of light really appeared in the dark sky, enveloping the Sea Princess. Within it, the marine creatures watching the scene were shocked and started exclaiming, "This is too miraculous! Long live Lord Sea King!" And Sea Princess screamed in pain within the beam of light. At that moment, Chen Luo slowly floated into the air and indifferently said, "Divine power, annihilate." In the next second, Sea Princess disappeared as if she had evaporated from the world. Although Sea Princess was actually banished back to base by Chen Lu using spatial powers, in the eyes of all the marine creatures, the strong opponent that they altogether could not defeat was just taken down by Lord Sea King with one move. However, many of the marine creatures were shocked and felt uneasy, at the same time wondering if Lord Sea King had noticed their treacherous behavior during the commotion. Especially Baby, who immediately fell to the ground with a thud, crying out, "Lord Sea King, I realized my mistake. I won't dare to." But just then Red Lantern Fish suddenly ran over and shouted, "Not good, Lord Sea King John Ba has sacrificed himself." Hearing this, Shan Luo smiled slightly and said, "Take a closer look. Is it really dead?" Upon hearing these words, the marine creatures went forward to check carefully and confirm that indeed it was dead with no signs of life left. Seeing that the atmosphere had been heightened to this extent, Shan Luo then nobly declared Zhang Bao was loyal and protected his lore, and he bought precious time for me to recover my divine power. As a reward, I will use my divine power to bring him back to life. Upon hearing this, all the marine creatures present were astonished, exclaiming, "How is that possible? Could Lord Sea King just say you will bring back the dead?" But under the incredulous gazes of everyone, Chen Luo shouted loudly, "Divine power, revive." And in the next second, John Bo actually slowly opened his eyes and quickly exclaimed, "Wasn't I killed in battle? Is this heaven?" Chen Luo immediately said with a straight face, "Those who believe in me shall have eternal life. Even the King of Hell cannot take John Bo away from me. That's my word." It turned out that the holy light beam and the miraculous resurrection were actually the work of Melee, hiding in the air and helping secretly. This instantly baffled all the marine creatures, who started exclaiming, "Believers and Sea Kings shall have eternal life from now on." All members of the marine tribes swore loyalty to the Sea King. After all, if Lord Sea King can revive us, what do we have to fear? Upon hearing this, Shan Luo was ecstatic, silently praising himself. "This act was a smashing success. From now on, at my command, these marine creatures will be fearlessly loyal." Just then Red Lantern Fish said, ignorantly, "Lord Sea King, how shall we deal with these traitors?" Shan Luo replied coldly, "Kill them. Their actions have deeply disappointed me." As his words fell, the loyal marine creatures immediately began to purge the traitors. Then he collected the corpses of these creatures into his spatial ability, saying with great righteousness, "Although these ungrateful beings betrayed me in consideration of our past master-servant relationship, I shall personally lay them to rest. Everyone, you may leave now." While John Liu said this, he was thinking to himself, This is a windfall. 96 king-level crystals and bodies will more than suffice to elevate 56 level 10 members to king level. However, at that moment, Shanluo suddenly thought of a loophole. A single king-level crystal can promote a level 10 being. After promoting them, killing them not only recovers a king-level crystal, but also grants a king-level corpse. Feeding the corpse to the enchanting tree would yield the king-level fruit. This is a buy one get one free deal. With this in mind, he immediately notified everyone telepathically, if you encounter any level 10 enemies, don't kill them, outright capture them alive. Then Chen Luo delivered the king-level marine creature corpses to the enchanting tree, which was overjoyed. Cooperating with you. It's the best decision I've made in my tree life. Now I'm feasting on high-quality meat until I'm sick of it. Chen Luo didn't waste words and directly inquired whether it had broken through and strength. You've consumed so many corpses and shared half of the king-level fruits. You should have broken through by now. He thought if the tree didn't have vampire-level potential, giving it the fruits would be wasteful. Upon hearing this, the enchanting tree hurriedly explained that it had indeed gained significant strength, but seemed to have hit a bottleneck and was unable to progress further. Could I get an advance of 10 fruits to see if I can break through? Chen Luo readily agreed to the enchanting tree's request since its advancement to emperor level would benefit everyone. Now it's time for me to focus on comprehending my skills. A month later, Chen Luo's signature technique had once again made a breakthrough. The range of his void walking had shattered all norms. He could now go anywhere on Blue Star with just a thought. His void walking could not only reach the heavens, but also traverse the deepest oceans. Rice was shocked upon hearing this and immediately and Chen Luo to take her to the moon. Chen Luo patted Rice on the shoulder and said seriously, I can't fulfill this request for now. First, taking someone with me would greatly increase the consumption, and second, the distance is indeed too far. I'm not completely confident about it, but for now I can take some pictures on the moon for why. With that, Chen Luo performed a void walk to the moon, and was pleasantly surprised to find that his emperor-level physique didn't require a spacesuit in space. But just then an astronaut approached Chen Luo. He rushed over and started talking incessantly. After conversing, Chen Luo will learn that he was an astronaut who had lost contact with Blue Star shortly upon arriving on the moon, and had survived till now with the abundant supplies in the space station. He then eagerly asked Jim Luo why he had suddenly appeared and what had happened on Blue S. Hearing this, Shan Luo did not keep him in the dark and immediately told him about the apocalypse that had erupted. He also asked if he had seen anything strange on the moon. She hastily said that indeed he had. When he had just arrived at the moon, a blue and a black orb suddenly appeared near the Earth. The two orbs then violently collided, causing an explosion. Eventually, the black orb plummeted towards the Earth. On hearing this, Shan Liu immediately, and pale with shock, that black orb must be the original owner of the divine gear. No doubt about it, the timing of its fall coincided exactly with the onset of the apocalypse. The cause of the apocalypse was this dark power user who had been reduced to nothing by his opponent's single attack. His flesh and blood contaminated the entire Earth. Thinking of this, Shan Luo quickly asked Jill about the other blue orb. Did it also fall to Earth? Jill immediately said that it was too fast and he did not see it clearly. Hearing this, Chen Luo fell into deep thought. Judging by the color of the orbs, Chen Luo guessed that the one who defeated the divine gear's original owner must be a nice power user. He then took some supplies out of the extraordinary space and gave them to Jill as thanks. Jill was just about to ask Chen Luo to stay with him a little longer when the latter disappeared with a void walk. After returning, the base Thunder King eagerly shouted, Master, I have advanced to Emperor level, and Congealed Frost has also reached the pinnacle of King level. Hearing this, Chen Luo immediately walked into the room, murmuring to himself whether Congealed Frost had also been working hard lately. Hearing this, Congealed Frost smirked and said, Impressive, right? I'm just one step away from advancing to Emperor level. As soon as this was said, a terrifying thought suddenly surfaced in Chen Luo's mind. Congealed Frost is an ice power user and her tears can restore extraordinary powers. Most crucially, she does not experience pain during her advancement. Could she be the blue orb that defeated the divine gear's original owner? But Sunny dismissed his own gas. If that were the case, he would have died 100 times over. When he first defended Congealed Frost's uniqueness might just be because she ate a piece of flesh from the blue orb after it was injured. Just then, Rice suddenly shouted that there was big trouble. She sensed that the time for the monsters to descend had been moved up. They would arrive on Earth in 15 days. Seeing this, Chen Liu immediately asked, If she could sense the outcome of the upcoming battle, Rice then said, with a worried face. Judging by the outcome, the crisis seems to have been averted. But in a sense, it is also a failed ending. Rice didn't know why she had such a strange premonition. It appeared to be a success on the surface, but in reality, it was a failure. Moreover, she had a vague pre-admonition that there was a shocking secret hidden in Antarctica. It was absolutely necessary to avoid that place, and especially to keep Chen Luo from knowing, because the time was not right. Upon hearing this, Shan Luo was greatly startled and hurriedly asked Rice if she could calculate the time and location of the monster's arrival. Hearing this, Rice did not hesitate and immediately began her foresight. She quickly calculated that the monsters would arrive around 1 o'clock in the afternoon in half a month, descending in a forest in the western part of Plum Continent. Half a month later, after arranging everything, Chen Liu came to the predicted location of the monsters' descent ahead of time to survey the situation. Sure enough, as Rice had foretold, not long after his arrival, he sensed a strange spatial fluctuation. Subsequently, a gigantic blue-green gate dozens of meters long and 100 meters high materialized out of thin air in the forest. As the vast spatial gate slowly opened, the next second, countless monsters of various forms startlingly appeared on Blue Star. Chen Luo roughly estimated that there were at least 500 to 600 monsters, all of them above king level and strength. And these monsters unanimously knelt to the ground, paying homage to a large monster in the center, clearly indicating its extraordinary status. Moreover, this creature's eyes were distinctive red and blue. Upon closer inspection, Chen Luo will realize that the red one was not an eyeball, but a gem-like object. What was even more bizarre was that an octopus was clinging on to the creature's back. Could this octopus be an inside agent of the monsters on Blue Star? However, at that moment, the monsters suddenly cried out in unison in their language. In the next second, these heartless monsters began to wail in agony. Chen Luo was somewhat baffled. Could it be that they were weeping for the original master of the divine gear? If that was the case, then it would confirm all of his previous conjectures based on his memories from his past life. These monsters had come specifically for that set of divine gear, and they must be the kin of the original master of the divine gear. The moment he found the helmet they had locked on, but just then the monster leader suddenly turned its head towards Chen Luo, giving him quite a fright. He thought to himself that even though he was hiding in a deeper layer of space, he had been discovered. Immediately, Chen Luo switched to another location to hide. But what happened next completely shocked him. He saw the monsters take out a purple crystal and start to absorb energy from it. In just 2 minutes, 13 monsters broke through to Emperor level. Following this, the monster leader babbled on, seemingly planning some sort of action. A pity that Shan Luo could not understand a word. To figure out the monster's next move, Kun Liu decided to capture one and subject it to severe interrogation. Having many tried to communicate, with a game of cat and mouse was about to begin. As the monster leader gave an order, the monsters quickly split into 4 groups, each heading in different directions, presumably to advance towards different continents and slaughter all life on Blue Star. This was the scenario Kun Luo was hoping to see. If all 500 plus king level monsters were together, he really wouldn't have the confidence to win this battle. Now it was as if he had been given the opportunity to break them down one by one. Oddly enough, the 13th Emperor level monsters did not leave but stayed to continue absorbing the crystal. This frightened Chen Luo, who thought to himself, what on earth do these monsters intend to do? Could it be that they're trying to advance beyond the Emperor level in a short amount of time? Upon realizing the powerful energy contained within the crystal, Chen Luo had an epiphany. No wonder in his past life, even with Emperor level strength, he still couldn't handle some monsters, was because their power had already surpassed that level. Although Chen Luo wanted to take advantage of their pre-promotion state to eliminate the threat permanently, he knew his current strength was insufficient. The immediate priority was to deal with the scattered monsters first. Chen Luo then followed a squad to Flying Continent, while another headed towards the Kangaroo Continent, Dun City Stronghold. Upon seeing this, Chen Luo immediately commanded telepathically eliminate all invaders. Not a single monster should escape. The response was immediate, and the forces sallied forth to the battlefield chanting, "Those who offend our blue planet shall be pursued and vanquished no matter the distance." Soon, The Dawn City army intercepted the monsters. Seeing the vast number of Thunder King immediately declared his intention to take the lead to distract the monsters, urging the rest to set an ambush and trap them all. Melee instantly offered to boost his status to the maximum, warning Thunder King to be cautious, as the enhancement effects would only last for 10 minutes. She then cast Strength Speed and a regenerative healing buff on Thunder King. Meanwhile, the monster leader suddenly shouted in disbelief that the decoys they had sent out were under attack. Another monster shook its head, saying that they too were nothing bait. Despite knowing their master had died, they still had to continue the search for the murder. It was clear the higher-ups wanted to use them as bait to test the killer's strength. This statement infuriated the monster leader, who sternly reminded everyone to watch their words. The talking monster quickly shut its big mouth, recalling the red gem and the leaders, a monitoring device sending live images back to their home planet. The leader solidly stated that their mission was not only to find the murderer, but also to return the crystals and armor to their home planet with continuous reinforcements on the way. So what's the hurry? The leader said. Continue with the plan. Once Thunder King unleashed a terrifying aura, he dashed into the crowd of monsters with a lightning flash before the monsters could react. Thunder King appeared before one and sent it flying with a thunderous punch. The monsters were taken back, exclaiming that this dog's strength must have reached Emperor level. The what of it, they declared. With over 100 of us at King level, we can take him down, brothers, let's fight together. Thunder King didn't hesitate, instantly speeding out of the encirclement and transforming into a war god, slapping the monsters around. But he quickly realized something was amiss. The monsters' defenses were astoundingly high, and despite Melee's full buffs, he couldn't kill a single one with his slaps. Thunder King then changed his tactic. With a loud cry of thunder, 5 bolts of lightning exploded in the sky, striking down at the crowd of monsters. At this moment, the monsters finally understood that this dot was not a physical fighter, but a lightning ability user with a powerful offensive talent. Thunder King was like a god of thunder, controlling the purple sky lightning to harvest heads, causing screams to pierce the air. Even the monsters not hit by the lightning were fried inside out by the transmitted current. Although this attack inflicted widespread damage on the monsters, it also drained Thunder King significantly, deciding to quit while ahead of. Thunder King resolved to lead the dumb beasts into the ambush and then annihilate them together. With this thought in mind, Thunder King immediately shouted at the monsters with a sneer, "Come chase me, dummies." Although the monsters did not understand what he was saying, they could clearly feel that he was provoking them, so they immediately chased after him with a barrage of attacks. Thunder King pretended to be in a sorry state as he ran, shouting, "Stop hitting me, stop, it hurts, damn it." It must be said that this dog is truly cut from the same cloth as Chin Luo. But soon the monsters chasing after them sensed something was amiss. The ones with keen eyesight quickly shouted, "There's an ambush ahead, retreat." But it was too late, as they had already been led by Thunder King into the encirclement. Seeing this, Melee didn't hesitate, shouting urgently, "The leader has ordered a full assault, leave none alive, let's go." Upon our command, Congealed Frost launched the first strike against the enemy. In the next second, a hailstorm fell from the sky, causing widespread damage and slowing the enemies. The princess used the Hand of Darkness to relentlessly rip heads, yelling, "Not one of you is getting away today." This terrified the monsters, who exclaimed in panic that there were so many Emperor-level beings among the natives. At that moment, one of the psychic-type monsters shouted, "Don't panic, I sense 100-strong King-level reinforcement team is on its way, it must." The what they had been eagerly waiting for turned out not to be their own, but Chen Luo's marine creature army, plunging them into deep despair. Upon witnessing this, a monster roared for its companions to scatter, and in the next second detonated itself, causing heavy casualties to nearby members. Seeing this, the monsters laughed savagely, shouting, "Let self-destruct tool take some of them down with us." But their laughter was abruptly cut short, as Meanly calmly cast several healing spells, instantly bringing the wounded back to full health. Then Melee declared confidently, "Brothers, charge boldly with me here. As long as you're not taken out in one hit, I'll have you back to full health in no time." Meanwhile, on the flying continent, then Chen Lula was following, split into 6 squads. Seeing this, Chen Lula wasted no time, immediately following one of the squads, planning to start with them before taking down the others, one by one. But just then the monster suddenly received an order from their leader to head to Kangaroo Continent immediately, as a powerful human force had been discovered there and their forces had been ambushed. Hearing this, the monsters were stunned, exclaiming, "Could there be an ambush here as well?" But as soon as these words were spoken, Shan Luo eerily appeared in front of them. With a shout of spatial storm, The space around the monsters exploded, and streams of turbulent wind began to lash at their bodies. A monster greeting its teeth charged out of the spatial storm and launched fiercely at Chen Luo. But just as its claws were about to pierce through him, Chen Luo countered with a spatial banish, sending it back. He then immediately used spatial compression to reduce the stone's range, significantly increasing the frequency of attacks on the monsters. In just 3 minutes, more than 20 king-level monsters fell to Chen Luo's surprise attacks. Meanwhile, on another front, the monster leader said reluctantly, "Our warriors sent to the kangaroo continent have been ambushed. They've been completely wiped out." A monster immediately turned pale with shock, yelling, "Could it be that these natives knew we were coming? To think they even set up an ambush in advance." Just then a monster leader received yet more bad news: "We've been ambushed on the flying continent as well." According to the last message from my dying subordinate, the assailant is an emperor-level space manipulator who also has the ability to teleport as a fellow space manipulator. The leader understood all too well what teleportation implied. It was a divine skill within their space abilities. "I don't possess it," he admitted. "I haven't even touched the threshold of such a technique." And to think, in this backwater planet there emerges a space manipulating genius. This person must not be allowed to live. Thinking this, the monster leader immediately ordered 12 emperor-level elites to hunt down and kill this individual to prevent him from becoming a future threat. Meanwhile, Kun Liu rushed back to his base, furiously casting time acceleration spells on his Tier 10 members. They had to advance before the next wave of monsters arrived. After 2 continuous hours of acceleration, 145 members finally broke through their limits, ascending to king level. But at that moment, Chen Guan suddenly shouted, "Brother Chen, something terrible has happened. Scouts report that a large number of monsters have landed on Kangaroo Continent. What should we do now?" Hearing this, Shan Luo immediately ordered the base to enter a state of first little combat readiness. "Prepare for a tough battle. Cowards will be shown no mercy." He then quickly contacted Big Strong, instructing it to bring the zombie army to Dawn City for a rally. Simultaneously, the monster leader had also assembled his troops near Dawn City with a tone of regret. He said, "If we had brought the laser cannon, we could have leveled this place in minutes. Poison Cloud, you will lead the charge. Made sure these lowly natives learn of our power." Poison Cloud confidently responded, "Rest assured, my leader, my poison is no cure. Just keep that space genius busy for me. Don't let them teleport me away." The leader quickly reassured teleportation, though divine, comes at a great cost. If he dares to use it, he'll be left without any means to save himself. And at that point, I'll make sure he has no grave to be buried. At this moment, Chen Liu also spotted the approaching monster army. He immediately ordered a sortie from the city to meet them in battle. Big Strong leading the zombie horde, to encourage them to be willing cannon fodder. Chen Luo tricked them, saying it was only a drill. "Whoever flees will end up like the sea tribe before you." With this declaration, the zombie army shouted their willingness to charge into the fray, declaring, "Even if we die, our big brother can bring us back." Only Thorn Queen whispered at Big Strong, "This doesn't seem like just a drill to me." Big Strong hastily replied, "Just hang back a bit during the fight. There's no need to rush forward for real." Then, leading the zombie army out of the base, Big Strong thought to himself, "I must play this leading role, otherwise, who else would be desperate enough to charge forward on the big brothers, confident if I die, he's sure to revive me first." Under the leadership of Big Strong, the zombie army launched a kamikaze attack without regard for their own lives. The monsters also immediately threw various abilities at them. Upon witnessing the scene, zombies were shocked and shouted that this exercise seemed too realistic. They urged each other not to disgrace their leader and to charge together. As the zombie army began to deplete, Chen Luo quickly shouted orders for all members to attack volley, not to spare any invaders of the blue planet. But just as the members rushed out of the base, a strange green rain suddenly fell from the sky. Seeing this, Chen Luo realized the rain was highly toxic. Those who got drenched began to suffer from dizziness, weakness, and even some spat out blood. It turned out that a poison-type monster had tampered with the rain, causing those who were soaked to be poisoned. Although the range of the dark clouds wasn't vast, they were strategically placed on the monster's path of attack. Then Poison Cloud, with a grin, stated that in order to face them, one must first survive as poison rain formation. No sooner had he finished speaking than a pair of pure white wings appear in the dark sky, blowing away the black clouds with their powerful flapping while also releasing a warm breeze. The previously poisoned members were cured under the gentle wind. Melee, enveloped in a glowing light at the rear, appeared like a fairy descending to earth, bolstering the morale of all members. Poison Cloud shouted in disbelief that his poison had been neutralized by a lowly inhabitant of the blue planet. Seeing this, the monster leader's expression darkened as he muttered about the surprising talents on this planet. Unexpectedly to see Princess appear on the battlefield clad in divine armor, exciting the monster leader, who could not take his eyes off the armor. Although Chin Lulu was not fully aware of the monster's ultimate purpose, he knew that this armor was one of their objectives. Thus, Shan Luo arranged for the Sea Princess to lure them away, aiming to eliminate the 300-plus king-level monsters first. At the sight of the divine armor, the 13th Emperor-level monsters, including the leader, were momentarily stunned. They knew that by collecting the full set of armor, they could. With this realization, the monsters exhibited ecstatic expressions as the natives had inadvertently helped them assemble the complete set of divine armor before the monster leader could speak. The 13th Emperor-level monsters simultaneously charged at Sea Princess with a boost from her shoes. Sea Prin. No good, a monster set with eyes full of rage. Leader, should we use our trump card to snatch the divine armor? Upon hearing this, the leader immediately rejected the suggestion. The trump card is only for dealing with the murderer. Otherwise, if we encounter him without it, we won't even have a chance. Let's go back and join the main force first, deal with the other natives before sorting her out. Meanwhile, Chen Luo was having the time of his life on the battlefield. Every time a monster would use a powerful skill, you would banish another monster into the void to use as a meat shield. This caused great panic among the monsters, and no one dared to release their big moves lightly anymore. Seeing the Emperor-level monsters return to the battlefield, Shan Luo was quite disappointed, thinking to himself that his strategy must have been seen through, so he quickly called his sister back using telepathy. Meanwhile, the monster leader was intently counting how many times Chen Luo had used spatial walking, although it couldn't believe that the opponent had used it over 40 times. How many more times can you use your spatial divine skill if thought once your energy is depleted, your end will come? With this in mind, the leader quickly ordered the other Emperor-level monsters to join the battle, but not to rush attacking. The spatial talent for time teleportation is truly an unsolvable skill. At this moment, the leader had already quietly set his sights on melee, thinking to himself, target the healers first and team fights, so I will start with this woman. In the blink of an eye, the monster leader had silently charged a dimensional blade, releasing it at the unsuspecting melee with incredible speed. Other types might not notice. A Chen Liu being of the spatial type was sensitive to any space fluctuations and would not miss them. Trying to play dirty with me, hot. You're still too green, Chen Luo thought. Just 2 meters before the dimensional blade could reach melee, Poison Cloud suddenly appeared involuntarily behind her. Poison Cloud was frightened out of its wits, its expression about to turn bewildered, when the dimensional blade had already cleaved in half. Seeing this, the monster leader's face was filled with disbelief. It couldn't believe that it had accidentally killed one of its own. How did that boy know I was going to strike? He shouldn't have had enough energy to activate instant movement again. Little did it know the space divine skill, which seemed. At this moment, Sea Princess also arrived on the battlefield and immediately summoned several eyes of darkness. The Emperor-level monsters saw this, but did not attempt to stop her, mockingly saying that the woman must be brain damaged. We just need to stay out of the array's range, right? But as soon as the words fell, all 12 Emperor-level monsters found themselves uncontrollably positioned right in the center of the Eyes of Darkness. The next second, the Eyes of Darkness began the merciless firing. One monster struggled to speak. Leader, didn't you say that this divine skill couldn't be you? Hearing this, the monster leader was silent for a moment before speaking in a deep voice. Trust me, this divine skill is incredibly draining of energy. He definitely can't use it many more times. Upon hearing this, the monsters all began to try to forcibly break through the constraints of the formation. However, time and time again they were teleported back into it by Chen Luo. Seeing this, Sea Princess didn't dilly-dally. She promptly rewarded each of the foolish creatures with a crippling weakness at the same time. Chen Luo also inflicted them with a time-slowing spell, instantly reducing their speed manifold, rendering them unable to evade the attacks of the Dark Eyes. At this moment, one of the monsters with a ferocious light and its eyes shouted, I can't take this anymore. If this continues, we will lose. If we don't use our trump card now, we'll all die. No sooner had the words left its mouth and the monster transformed into a pool of black liquid. In the blink of an eye, it became a beast emanating a strong, sinister aura with a creepy cackle escaping its lips. Chen Luo immediately sensed trouble because the creature's power was definitely above Emperor level. However, He thought to himself that such a drastic power increase in such a short time surely couldn't last. With this in mind, Chen Liu promptly used the time acceleration spell on the creature. To this the beast just scoffed at him and then turned to attack Sea Princess nearby. Thankfully, the armor activated a shield just in time and Sea Princess narrowly escaped disaster. Knowing the shield wouldn't last long, Chen Luo understood he had to deal with the monster quickly or his sister's life would be in peril, so he further accelerated time unexpectedly. Even after 2 minutes of continuous acceleration, the creature showed no signs of dissipating. Far from perishing, the monster broke through Sea Princess's shield. It was only then that Kun Liu realized this creature was not a short-lived existence. He immediately cast a spatial banishment on the monster, sending it hundreds of miles away. Thinking to himself that this move could only buy them a little time, now it's time for me to play my ace, he thought as he instructed his sister to hold on, assuring her you would be right back. However, no sooner had Shin Luo left in, the monster silently returned, to see Princess's utter surprise. The creature did not immediately attack her but instead charged straight at her dark eyes. With several booming explosions, the dark eyes conjured by the divine gear were effortlessly destroyed by the monster. Seeing this, Sea Princess didn't waste any time. She immediately used the boots from her divine gear to activate a speed boost and fled. A monster let out a slight chuckle, trying to run. It's not that easy, as the words fell with unbelievable speed. It grabs the princess in its grasp, frightening her greatly. She quickly unleashed a dark deterrence in an attempt to use a psychic attack to break free, to no avail. The move had no effect on the beast. Then Sea Princess plunged her sword fiercely into the monster's chest, but even the divine sword could not inflict any damage. At this moment, Sea Princess was utterly bewildered, wondering what level this monster was. Even clad in a full set of divine gear, she found herself powerless to fight back. Just as the monster was about to forcefully take the divine gear, Chen Luo arrived just in time with John Tishuat via Voidwalker. Pointing at the black monster, he shouted urgently for her to immobilize it. Hearing this, John Shashua didn't hesitate and immediately used time stop on the creature. The next second, the hand that was about to strip off the armor came to a sudden halt. Is threw the monster leader into a panic, who urgently yelled for his minion to hurry out. Pan seized the divine gear, wondering why it was just standing there. The creature seemed not to hear and remained motionless. It dawned on the monster leader that the culprit for this was the girl Jin Luo had brought to the battlefield. It must be her control over the creature, likely with a timestamp or rare ability. 1 in a billion, even across the universe. If the higher-ups heard of this, support would surely arrive sooner. With this revelation, the monster leader couldn't help but laugh out loud, mumblings, Aruda, Zeruda. Although Kun Liu didn't understand the meaning behind its words, he took the creature's delight as an opportunity to take their lives. He sent out a telepathic message to all his allies to rally to his side and focus their firepower to eliminate the monsters. After giving the instruction, he silently charged up a dimensional blade and hurled it at an incredible speed towards the monster. To his shock, though, the dimensional blade hit its forehead squarely. It failed to kill the creature. The split had healed at a visible rate, leaving no trace behind, and the monster returned to peak condition. Chen Luo was genuinely alarmed, realizing that even his strongest attack skill could not harm the beast. He pondered whether he should use that move. Just then, John Shashua, out of breath, said, "Brother Chen, my powers are almost depleted. I can only use time stop one more time. Everyone must seize this opportunity." With that, she cast her final time stop on the creature. Thunder King didn't idle either. He immediately executed his fusion ability, the Wind Thunder Palm, and struck the monster with a fierce blow. This attack still did no damage. Seeing this, Chen Luo was stunned. He had to admit this creature was as resilient as a cockroach, since attacks were ineffective. It seemed he had no choice but to resort to that move. If he could banish it to the deep spatial rift, even if the spatial storms didn't shred it, it would be trapped and eventually die there. At that moment, Shan Luo crossed his legs and levitated, beginning his attempt to rupture space. Soon a spatial rift appeared behind him, and as he infused it with the force of space, the layers of space began to fracture. By the time he reached the 7th layer, a wormhole-like crack had emerged behind him, swirling with numerous space stones. Then Shan Luo, with a smirk, said, "Your end has come." With that, he unleashed spatial banishment on the black monster. In the next second, the creature appeared at the entrance to the rift, looking utterly bewildered before it could make sense of a situation. Shan Luo kicked it squarely in the rear, propelling it into the abyss like crack, muttering bye-bye as he did so. With a wave of his hand, the spatial rift vanished silently into the sky. Although this completely dealt with the black monster because this also meant that it had lost a crystal above the emperor level. However, the crisis was now averted without the formidable black monster. Dealing with the common emperor-level creatures became much simpler. With this thought, Chen Luo immediately sounded the charge for attack. The situation quickly became one-sided. Congealed Frost took charge of controlling the large area, freezing any escaping creatures with her powerful abilities. Thunder King charged into the fray, reaping the weakened emperor-level creatures. Through the concerted efforts of everyone, Dawn City, led by Chen Luo, achieved ultimate victory. However, there were no smiles on their faces, as many comrades had fallen heroically in battle. The survivors bore grave injuries. Although it was a Pyrrhic victory, it was an outcome beyond Chen Luo's wildest dreams from his previous life, where humanity perished following the monster's rival, with only him surviving by the skin of his teeth using void walking. At this time, Chen Luo spoke passionately. "Those who threaten our blue star, no matter how far, shall be vanquished. Though we've lost many brothers in this battle, rest assured Melee will resurrect them shortly." Just then Thunder King suddenly threw the monster leader in front of him, stating that he had kept to alive as per instructions to verify their truthfulness during interrogation. Chen Luo then called many in to communicate with the monster leader through telepathy. The leader was surprisingly cooperative, probably thinking that once reinforcements arrived, it would be saved. The mere presence of a time manipulator was enough reason for the clan leader to come to Blue Star personally. At that time, all of them would have to through minions. Translation: it was learned that the monster leader named Boudoir had come to Blue Star to search for their ancestors' whereabouts. However, it seemed the ancestor had met with misfortune, so they were ordered to retrieve the godly equipment at all costs. Hearing this, Shan Lu Borbwell wasn't lying, as their arrival had been marked with tears. Continuing the interrogation, Chen Luo asked, "What is that red eyeball of yours? You wouldn't mind if I took a look, would you?" Upon hearing this, what was shouted, "I've been cooperative enough, what more do you want?" Upon hearing this, Chen Lu immediately struck back with a loud slap, shouting, "You've invaded our planet, what right do you have to talk about reason with me?" Following that, Chen Luo forcibly removed the gem from the creature, demanding, "Spill it, what does this thing actually do? Or else don't blame me for being ruthless." With no other choice, the monster revealed a function of the stone. This object has the ability to record and transmit what I see back to our home planet in real time. That means everything that's happened here is already known to our clan leader. Just wait for your doom. Upon hearing this, Jin Lu slapped that several times more, scoffing, "Will allow you to laugh. Speak. When will your reinforcements arrive?" What will first fell silent for a moment before truthfully saying, "Within 3 days our clan leader will descend upon Blue Star personally. His power far exceeds your comprehension, though your time stopping is indeed unsolvable. You could at most hold him for half a second." Hearing this, Chen Luo hastily inquired, "What level is your clan leader, and how is your strength classified?" What will inform Chen Luo that their powers are categorized as king level, emperor level, and sovereign level, and beyond that are demigod level and divine level. The minions I'd brought are all at king level. My 12 king Nandai are at emperor level. The one you banished into the spatial rift is at sovereign now. And our clan leader is a demigod level powerhouse. 100 sovereign levels would not match at demigod level. Upon hearing this, Shan Lula was frozen on the spot, thinking, let alone demigod level. You don't even have a sovereign level among us, and that demigod level being descends upon Blue Star. How am I supposed to face him? Woodway explained that only those who have reached demigod level have the qualification to break through to divine level. However, one cannot advance the divine level merely through absorbing crystals. It depends on the individual's insight. 99% of demigod levels will not break through this barrier in their lifetime, while a few understand the mystery within a few years and ascend to divinity. From what I've observed about you, your mastery of teleportation is nearly magical in the entire universe, only a select few space-related genius. I don't have time for your flattery. Just tell me what level your ancestor is and who took him down. Downwood quickly confessed everything. My ancestor was at the divine level. The one who took down my ancestor is a divine level ice element user. That's all I know. The one thing is for sure, that ice user must have been seriously injured and is probably hiding somewhere on Blue Star, secretly healing. Chin Lula was shocked at the realization that there was a divine level being on Blue Star, thinking that an encounter would mean certain death without even knowing how it came about. Seeing his reaction, Woodwell immediately began to spout nonsense with a serious look. We really don't need to be mortal enemies. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. We could actually collaborate. When our clan leader arrives, we could join forces to find that ice to find level being. He's seriously injured, and if you could just use your time powers to hold him for a moment, our clan leader is confident he can finish them off. Afterward, we'll give you resources to ascend to demigod level. Chin Luo wasn't fooled, thinking that cooperation is a matter between equals, and they surely. He dismissed the offer with a non-committal "I'll think about it" to express sincerity and forming an alliance. What do I hastily offered a sovereign-level space crystal as a gift. Chen Luo of and realized why they had an extra crystal upon their arrival on Blue Star. It was from a storage ring. Without further politeness, Chen Luo snatched the ring and found inside 4 emperor-level crystals and 2 mysterious books, which delighted him greatly. He said, "I accept your gesture. I'll consider the collaboration. Stay here and behave. I've got other things to handle." Then he went to Rice to discuss how to deal with the incoming demigod level. Rice disdainfully remarked, "Just a small fry, not worth the fuss." Startled Chen Luo exclaimed, "You're calling a demigod level a small fry? Are you joking?" Rice just laughed, saying, "Didn't that guy travel through a space tunnel? Accidents on such a long journey are normal. Don't worry, he's just coming here to be defeated. However, I sense that the injured divine level has healed, and will seek us out the day after tomorrow. That's what you should be concerned about." At this revelation, Shanliu became anxious. Should we consider allying with the demigod level then? But Rice quickly dismissed this idea. This is not something that small fry can handle. That divine level needs to die, and you are key to this. If you can't do it, Blue Star will be no more. Only you can complete this mission. Hearing this, Shanliu was horrified. "I'm just an emperor level 3 whole realms below a divine level. How can I contend with a divine level? That's like asking a kindergartner to box with Tyson. It's absurd." Though Chen Luo knew nothing about the power of a divine level, he inferred its extent from the legacy of the deity, which had influenced all life on Blue Star, to see Princess ascended to emperor. But Rice seemed unconcerned and indicated that it wasn't about strength when it came to killing him. She felt that as long as Chen Luo could make good use of his space-time abilities, he could successfully kill the adversary. "You need to think about it carefully," she said. Hearing this, Chen Luo wandered towards his room in a daze, starting to sum up and conclude his abilities. He dismissed the spatial abilities. It were good enough for escape, but hopeless for killing a divine level being. As for time abilities, he had only mastered time acceleration. Could he possibly accelerate the divine level being the death? Theoretically, it made sense, but to accelerate a divine level beating to death, not to mention whether his abilities were strong enough in that time span, a mere flick of the 8 of it. Could it be that Rice was suggesting to us space-time summoning to borrow strength from his future self? Would had mentioned that he had the potential to reach divine level given enough crystals. Perhaps in 3 to 5 years he could advance the demigod level. The time span wasn't too long. Strictly speaking, what he summoned last time was his past self, not his future self. Hence, he must master the art of future space-time summoning as soon as possible. With a solution in mind, Kun Liu started to ponder deeply. To his dismay, he had no clues even as night deepened, leading him to a state of utter despair. He then questioned his soul. Why had the task of saving the world fallen on him, and why had he been reborn? At this thought, Chen Luo suddenly had a bold idea. Could it be that in his previous life he had also awakened the dual space-time abilities without realizing it? He vividly remembered that in his past life, while burying himself amidst immense despair and in loneliness, he longed for the days before the apocalypse, surrounded by friends and endless food. He wished to return to the past, and then he did, finding himself back before the apocalypse broke out. Chen Luo had an epiphany. Maybe he hadn't been reborn at all. Perhaps in his extreme despair, he had used space-time retrogression. Now he knew how to deal with that divine level being. If he could regress the being to the time when his injuries were most severe, victory would be easily in his grasp. At that time, that being wouldn't even dream of killing him. He might not even be able to move. Meanwhile, on the other side, the chief of the Goodwill clan almost couldn't help burst into pig-like laughter upon learning that there was a time series user on Blue Star. He originally just wanted to retrieve his father's divine armor, but unexpectedly discovered a time series user. A time series crystal was worth more than 100 sets of armor. Thinking of this, he immediately contacted the Space Series Big Shot Time Trace to request the construction of a spatial tunnel to Blue Star, claiming that his father died there and he had to personally go to retrieve his father's remains. Upon hearing this, Time Trace immediately said that he was close friends with his father and he wouldn't mind helping. but he cautioned that teleporting a demigod level through a space tunnel could be problematic, especially over such a distance with many uncertainties. He asked if Barrow was certain he wanted to go himself. Darrow firmly stated that his mind was made up and implored Time Trace to oblige. Although he spoke of retrieving his father's corpse, he was actually thinking about the fortune to be had. A Time series user on Blue Star was a priceless treasure. Subsequently, Time Trace began constructing the spatial tunnel, Darrow carefully watching, not daring to breathe too loudly, his heart full of excitement, silently thinking about how he was about to get the Time series crystal. Approximately 2 hours later, the spatial tunnel to Blue Star was completed. Normally, Time Trace would meticulously check the tunnel after construction, but just then a woman's voice suddenly echoed in his mind. "Do you have time now? The answer to what you want to know is ready. Come to me quickly." Hearing this, Time Trace was visibly shaken and promptly replied respectfully, "Please wait, Violet. I will come immediately." Seeing this, Barrow quickly asked what was happening to Time Trace, but Time Trace didn't have time to chat. He simply said the spatial tunnel was finished and then turned to leave, thinking to himself that although he had not checked the tunnel, he couldn't make Violet wait. He had previously informed him of certain risks, so if anything did happen, it wouldn't be his fault. The one call and Time Trace was a causality series user. Although Violet only had king-level strength, she was an extraordinary existence that could control causality. It was said that several divine-level beings who had intended to harm, or had all without exception, suffered causality's retribution and met with miserable deaths, and even if Violet weren't. About 2 hours later, Time Trace arrived at Violet's planet. Over the years, he had served her like a dog to glean from her mouth his own causality, which had earned him a bit of her favor. Then he respectfully said, "Please tell me the answer." Violet, without hesitation, Violet said that in the near future he would become enemies with an emerging space series genius, and that he might even die by his hand. Hearing this, Time Trace turned pale with shock and shouted, "Is this my fate? Please tell me who this person is and where he is so I can take precautions." Violet smiled slightly and said, "Although I don't know the details about this person, I sense that soon someone will voluntarily tell you about him. You just need to wait patiently at home." Upon hearing this, Time Trace quickly expressed his gratitude. "Thank you, Violet, for informing me. Advance, I will spare no expense to snuff out this thread in its cradle." Meanwhile, on the other side, Rice sensed a piece of fantastic news that demigod-level weakling had encountered danger in the space tunnel, and in 2 hours he would be dead on arrival, delivering a great gift to them. This delighted Chen Luo immensely, who promptly inquired about the divine-level individual, and when he might be able to rid himself of this thorn in his side. Rice responded seriously, "That person will appear soon, coming to you today. But now is not the time to deal with him, no matter what." Shan Luo, eager to know when this moment would come, got a vague response from Rice, who stroked his chin and said gravely, "I'm not entirely sure, but it should be in the next few days. It's the gift I've been preparing for you for over a year, and the time comes you'll have the opportunity to strike down that divine level. But let's not talk about this now. Let me take you to accept that big gift sent by the demigod level." Simultaneously, on the other side, the divine level powerhouse hiding on Blue Star had finally recovered from his injuries. At the moment his man's wounds healed, she detected a faint space fluctuation. "If I'm not mistaken, this should be someone from the Auburn clan coming here after him. But that guy got blown up by me. If he hadn't had that armor, he couldn't have caused me any serious harm. Now it's time for me to claim when I'm out." Deciding to check out the situation at the transmission point, she, despite not being able to travel through the void, leveraged her divine-level power to reach the vicinity of the space tunnel in just 2 minutes. By this time, Chen Liu and Rice had already arrived at the transmission point. Surveying the carnage, Shan Luo, suppressing his disgust, collected the scattered remains, which were potent source of energy for the enchanting tree. Aside from the barely alive demigod-level individual, Chen Luo also found 6 sovereign-level crystals. This trip had been incredibly profitable. The gift from the boudoir family had almost provided him with enough resources to ascend to demigod level. Chen Liu thought it best to keep the demigod left. However, just then, a figure suddenly appeared behind him. Although Rice had mentioned that the divine level would soon appear, it still gave John Liu a fright, for he had detected no one nearby. She had chosen to ambush instead of revealing herself. Chen Luo reckoned he would have been killed before he could even attempt to escape through the void. Chen Luo, sweating coldly, turned to face this figure, only to find that this person was not a ferocious alien, but a delicate-looking spiritual woman. Isman glanced over Anne differently, and in a second, Shanluo felt his mind go blank, his body, as if submerged in boundless cold melee. A look from her instilled in him an unprecedented sense of despair. Izumon wondered internally. This bearer was a demigod level, after all. How had he fallen into such a... Even the most downtrodden demigod level should be invulnerable to such an insignificant human. Could it be that this unfortunate soul encountered an accident during transmission? Better to deal with these few now. For the time being, it's best to keep my whereabouts hidden. Upon making her intentions to act, Isman noticed runes circulating around Rice, runes invisible to Chen Luo, but crystal clear to her. The sight startled her, disbelief flickering in her eyes. It was the first time she had witnessed rune circulation in someone below the divine level. And these were runes she had never seen before. She quickly consulted a weather tome and, after comparing the runes with those on Rice, even she, a divine level powerhouse, was visibly shaken and flushed with excitement. She whispered to herself that these must be the destiny manipulating runes that transcend causality. With such an ally by her side to attract fortune and repel disaster, she believed she could achieve great feats. She was about to greet Rice, but then realized Rice might not understand her language, so she gestured to Chen Luo instead. Reluctantly, he approached, remembering Rice's earlier admonition to not resist whatever the divine level being did. Isman extended a finger, touching Chen Lui's forehead, and to his surprise, she spoke in the language of the Blue Star. Young one, may I be a guest at your home? Despite his reluctance, Kun Liu agreed, as he dared not refuse. Then turning to Rice, she touched her head and said, little sister, the stage of Blue Star is too small. Would you be interested in exploring a bigger stage with me? Chen Liu will realize that Rice had foreseen this month's interest in her. It was because of Rice that the divine level being had not attacked him. If he had come alone, he might well have been dead by now. Rice joyfully exclaimed that she had long wanted to see the outside world, but was reluctant to leave just yet. She asked to stay a few more days to bid farewell to her friends. Isman agreed without hesitation. A few days is fine as long as you're happy, Lady Rice. At that moment, Shanliu understood Rice's intentions. It seemed his opportunity to slay a god would come in the next few days. The man has an invincible existence on Blue Star. Not only has he mastered the strongest escape skill of void walking, but he has also awakened a unique time-related ability. Not just that, his captured girl possesses the power to change fate and predict the future. Every time he faces danger, Rice always helps him turn misfortune into blessing. But now there's an opponent he can't defeat, who wants to take Rice away from him. However, Rice foresaw this crisis a year ago, and used her powers to alter the course of a spatial temporal energy, directing it to Blue Star a year later. In 2 or 3 days this energy will arrive, and by then Shanliu will have the power to slay gods. To ensure he can catch this wave of fortune, Rice quickly said, falsely, I'm willing to go with you, but I need to stay here a few more days to say a proper goodbye to my friends. Also, he's my best friend here. Perhaps you could spare some time these days to guide him. Hearing this, Isman agreed without a second thought, eager to build a good relationship with Rice, considering such a small request as nothing. Back at the base, Isman immediately declared that she didn't want anyone disturbing her, and Lord Rice demanding everyone to leave. Chen Liu without delay handed Bara over to Mealing and others for a thorough interrogation. Isman barely glanced at the others except for Congealed Frost, who caught her eye. She monitored. Lucky girl, you found my soul pearl. This was precisely why Congealed Frost didn't suffer during her advancement. Unlike other marine creatures who consumed Auburn's flesh, Congealed Frost had consumed the al pearl that fell from Isman. And Isman said solemnly, since Lord Rice asked me to guide you, ask me anything you want to know. Chen Luo immediately asked her, do you know why our planet turned out like this? Isman laughed softly. It's because Auburn died on Blue Star. His flesh in the dark power within contaminated this planet. Ironically, I feel a bit sorry I killed him, but inadvertently harmed the life on this planet. Despite her words of apology, she showed no genuine remorse. Chen Luo of An asked, why did you kill Auburn? At this, his man's expression turned icy. Because he deserved to die. Back when I was at the demigod level, Auburn, to test his dark abilities, brutally killed all life on my mother planet. I was the only one who escaped that disaster. Later I grew to the divine level. Do you think I shouldn't have killed him? And that divine armor of Auburn should be with you now. Don't try to lie to me. Well, your words before you do. I can sense that besides you there are a few others who carry a hand of Auburn's aura. And over that divine armor, you're not worthy of such a treasure. Besides, you can unleash its true power. Keeping it will only bring you disaster. You can keep the sword for self-defense, have no use for a dark weapon. Isman's eyes held an undeniable firmness. Chen Luo dare any tricks Isman might turn hostile on the spot. Seeing this, Rice quickly suggested to give it to her. Hearing this, Chen Luo immediately took out the divine armor from his spatial ability and handed it over to Isman. After storing the divine armor in our space rain, Isman took out a crystal. This thing is of no use to me now. You're quite honest, kid. This fire element demigod level crystal is yours now. I don't want Rice to think I'm taking advantage of you. Indeed, a crystal was of little value to someone at the divine level. As Boudoir had said, ascending from demigod to godhood wasn't about absorbing crystals, but about insight. Yet how to break through goodwill couldn't say so much. Chen Luo eagerly asked Isman how to advance from demigod level to divine. The key is a profound understanding of your elemental abilities, like your spatial ability spatial cut. Others might consume 100 units of energy for one use. If you can do it with just 1 unit, that means you have to find level potential. 99% of demigods never break this barrier. Isman shook her head. After Chen Luo left, everyone asked what happened considering the incredible hearing abilities, but divine level being Chen Luo knew he couldn't let his plans leak, so he signaled in the stop asking. As Chen Luo walked into the yard, a figure swiftly flew past him from behind. The speed was so fast that Chen Luo barely saw it, making him wonder if it was just an illusion. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Zizi was about to sleep with John Tissue. Suddenly, a figure appeared behind John Tissue, striking her head and killing her instantly. This frightened Josie immensely. Just as she was about to scream, the killer covered her mouth. If you don't want to die, control your emotions. Seeing this, ZZ quickly sent a mental message to Jin Luo. Brother Chin, something terrible has happened. Sister John Shashua has been killed by the woman you brought back today. Although Isman noticed Josie contacting someone, she didn't rush to leave. When Chen Luo arrived, he found John Tissue dead on the ground with Isman playing with geometry. She was crystal. Immediately Chen Luo closed John Tissue as is to let her rest in peace, muttering to himself about the injustice. He could only wait to kill this person and then have melee reviver. Chen Luo dared not show any anger, fearing that Isman might kill him too. He could only rage helplessly in his heart. Then Isman smirked and said, "You must be very angry now. I can't help it. Temporal crystals are so rare. I can only say I'm sorry." But suddenly she grabbed Chen Luo by the collar and said coldly, "If Lord Riceland is about this, you know the consequences. Don't ruin my image in her heart. Lord Rice asked me to guide you, so I'll teach you another lesson. I've witnessed the destruction of my homeland, and you've seen your planet's been suffer. Why did this happen? Because we were both weak. Only by being strong can we prevent such things. Iron power and will stop at nothing. Dignity, pride, all nonsense. Only with great power can you control your destiny like you. Now your life or death is at my whim. I don't want to kill you and you live. That's the unchanging law. Survival of the fittest. Might makes right. Understand this lesson is very precious." Shan Liu lowered his head. Heedy. Upon hearing this, Isman warned him again. "You must never let Lord Rice know about this. The space system, though special at a low level, becomes ordinary at the divine level. I advise you not to harbor any suicidal thoughts." After Isman left, Chen Luo sat on the doorstep quietly staring at the starry sky, thinking although the time system has given John Tissue enviable abilities, it has also brought her fatal trouble. It really is a case of no guilt and being a common man, but a crime in possessing a jade. The growth of the time system is too difficult. Once you use your abilities, you'll attract others' covetousness. If I didn't have the space system as cover, even Rice couldn't protect me. The next morning, Isman released a cool flying saucer. Rice watched it with shining eyes. After spending a day together, Isman found Rice to be playful and thus took out the aircraft to lure her into playing. Intending to deceive and take Rice away early, if Rice agreed to board the aircraft, Kun Liu would never see her again. At that moment, a tremendous surge of space-time energy finally reached Blue Star, creating a huge energy vortex in the sky. Isman, puzzled, looked up at the sky. In the universe, she had seen common energy storms of wind, fire, ice and thunder, but this was her first encounter with a space-time one. Chen Luo carefully felt the energy and found it identical to the energy used during his space-time summoning. He then realized this is the opportunity Rice mentioned. If I can harness this immense power, I can use time reversal to take his mind back 2.5 years to the moment she was most seriously injured. Then the miracle of an emperor level defeating a divine level can occur. Chen Luo immediately used Void Walk to reach the center of the vortex. He felt a familiar sensation from these forces and thought to himself, time reversal requires precise coverage of the target person, so I need to immobilize her before charging up. Then Chen Luo will look sternly at Isman, and with a loud shout of time stop, Isman instantly felt paralyzed. Seeing this, Chin Luo didn't dawdle and immediately condensed all the space-time energy into a giant sword that pierced the heavens. With a cold and merciless gaze, he swung a sword down, saying, "Go time reversal." Following this, Isman's body underwent earth-shattering changes. A great amount of black energy emerged on her, frightening her immensely. She cried out in alarm, "Why is the curse Auburn placed on me before dying appearing on me again?" Before Isman could understand what was happening, the Thunder King struck her with the purple thunderbolts. Chin Lu coldly said, "Strike while the enemy is weak." Everyone attacked together. Chin Lu watched from high above as the god, now resembling a dead dog, lay defeated. The space system is indeed ordinary. Where space falls short, time compensates. How does it feel? The taste of time reversal. At this moment, Isman finally realized, "I never imagined this kid would be a master of space-time. I've been foolishly opposing space-time and fate. I deserve this death." After saying this, Isman died on the spot. Just then, Sea Princess, wielding a divine sword, rushed forward, furiously slashing at Isman, while shouting, "This is for bullying my brother." Shan Luo also remembered his promise to make the princess younger, previously powerless. He now had the ability. He hurriedly shouted, "Sister, are you ready? I've mastered time reversal and it's time to fulfill my promise." Hearing this, Sea Princess paused and excitedly shouted, "Let's do it. I'm ready." Without hesitation, Shan Lupo sprinkled a thread of temporal energy to Sea Princess, thinking to himself, "Sister, us be over 1,000 years old. Since it's a rare opportunity, let's take her back to before she was 100. To Chin Lu's astonishment, Sea Princess's body suddenly began to shrink rapidly, leaving him dumbfounded. Why is she shrinking? She won't revert to her original form, will she? In the end, to everyone's amazement, Sea Princess turned into a 7 or 8-year-old girl. Chen Luo was shocked. Why did this happen? I used such a small amount of power. However, Sea Princess happily hugs Chen Luo, murmuring, "I knew my brother wouldn't deceive me. It's just a pity that my powers have also disappeared due to the reversal. I can't protect my brother anymore." Hearing this, Shan Luo quickly reassured her, "Don't worry, sister, we have plenty of crystals. In at most half a year I can bring you back to the peak of the emperor level." Hearing this, Sea Princess smiled brightly. "Then from now on, I'll rely on you to protect me, brother." Just then, Rice suddenly shouted, "I feel my power has grown stronger." This frightened Jin Luo, who thought to himself, "Rice hasn't absorbed any crystals. Why would she suddenly advance? Could it be that Rice's growth is related to fate? For instance, witnessing others' fate. I just killed a divine level being with my emperor level strength and changed my own destiny." Rice wit. Thinking this, Shan Liu immediately extracted Isman's crystals and was surprised to find two crystals in Isman's head. One was a divine level crystal, the ice system, and the other a demigod level crystal of the light system. Chen Luo found it puzzling. Why are there two crystals? I've taken crystals from dual system ability users before, but there was only one crystal. He then recalled this man's words, "When you have a great realization in one ability, you advance from demigod level to divine level." Isman must have reached the pinnacle of understanding in the ice system, gaining the flavor of the ice system's law and advancing to divine level, while the light system remained at demigod level. Hence a dual system crystal split into two. He then found a black crystal on his mind, likely Auburn's divine level dark system crystal. Puzzle as to why she didn't store it in a space range. Chen Luo tried to place the crystals into his own ability space, but found that the two divine level crystals, like living entities, couldn't be stored. At that moment, Mealy shouted, "I've resurrected John Tissue. Sister Us prepared a big table of delicious food to celebrate. Come and join us." Everyone then raised their glasses, celebrating the end of the crisis. Chen Luo said with relief, "It's finally all over. The worst we can expect now is some fodder from the Bloodwood family. We won't have to live in fear anymore." Rice glanced at young Luo. She had foreseen for major tribulations for him: the arrival of a monster, a visit by a demigod level to Blue Star, the appearance of a divine level, each more dangerous than the last, and the final one being the most difficult. Not wanting to ruin the mood, Rice decided to keep this ominous news to herself for now. After the celebration banquet, Cheng Liu decided to go back to his room to improve his special ability space. He thought that the reason he couldn't keep living things in his space might be due to the absence of time. If he could integrate the power of time into his special ability space, maybe then he could keep living things in it. With this idea, Kun Liu immediately started experimenting. He applied the method of creating a time zone to a special ability space, and quickly made a 2 cubic meter time zone. Then he immediately took out two divine level crystals to try. This time he successfully stored the two crystals in his special ability space. However, These weren't real living creatures he needed to try with a small animal. But just then Won Jun Lui's tantrum could be heard outside the door. "Big brother, please patrol she into me. She's bald now and I don't mind one jindo a bag." Hearing this, Jin Lu was immediately furious. She even had become bald, defending against an external enemy invasion. You on the other hand run faster than anyone at the sight of a monster. Do you think you're worthy of Cheyenne? And who said I can decide to patrol her? Won Jun Go cried. Haven't I done a lot for you without asking for anything in return? Just patrol Sherry-Ann to me this once. Hearing this, Chen Luo's face darkened. He had intended to use a small check for the experiment. Since Mon Jingui was so ungrateful, he decided to use him instead. Shan Luo smirked and said, "Won Jen going, why don't you do a favor for your big brother first?" Although on Jingui sensed something was wrong, he had no choice but to agree. The next second a black hole appeared in front of him before he could react. Chen Luo kicked him into the special ability space. Won Jingwei only felt darkness enveloped him as he entered a gloomy space. Terrified, he shouted, "Big brother, what are you doing? Let me out, I won't marry sure you." "Okay." Shan Liu ignored him and observed Won Xingwo every move with his consciousness, thinking to himself, since he's shouting so loudly, there must be enough oxygen inside. Let's observe for a few days. If this experiment is successful, I can take everyone into the special ability space when in danger and use. 3 days later, Cheng Liu will notice that Won Jungray had stopped making noise. It wasn't due to a lack of oxygen, but because he was too hungry and weak after 3 days. So Chen Luo quickly let Won gently out. Won Jungui was overjoyed and quickly shouted, "Big brother, I know my mistake. I won't dare to do it again." Just as the words fell, a group of Shu Yan's admirers appeared before Won Jingua before he could understand the situation. The three of them beat him up without a word. Seeing that the special ability space could indeed sustain living beings for a long time, Chen Luo immediately started to make further improvements, muttering to himself that he should first expand it to 10,000 cubic meters. Although it's not needed now, it might come in handy someday. But at that moment, a loud rumbling sound suddenly came from outside Don City. Could it be the Goodwill family sending people over again? Without further thought, Chen Luo immediately left the city to check, only to find the enchanting tree furiously approaching, shouting, "Chen Luo, how dare you deceive me? You said to fend off the monster invasion. I advanced 200 fruits. You promised to compensate me after the battle, but you have not shown up till now." Hearing this, Chen Luo didn't hesitate and immediately took out 200 corpses from the special ability space, mumbling an apology for the delay. "Now here's your food, please enjoy. The first 200 fruits you bear from now on are yours." And Chen Luo am a man of my word. Upon hearing this, the enchanting tree began to devour the corpses frenziedly. Seeing this, Shan Luo smiled slightly, thinking to himself that since the tree did not possess emperor-level talent, it would no longer enjoy these fruits. He then came up with a plan. At the moment the enchanting tree was about to enjoy the fruits, Shan Liu used a time-stopping ability on the tree and quickly replaced the fruits with apples. When he released the enchanting tree from the time stop, it still saw something was amiss. "Why does this fruit taste different?" Chen Luo started to blabber seriously. "Perhaps the fruits born from these monsters as nutrients are different. I'm a man of my word, you know." Meanwhile, on the other side, the boudoir family, having not heard from their clan leader for a while, tried to contact Arrow, but couldn't reach him. The three-eyed elder anxiously suggested could there have been an accident during transmission. Another elder quickly reassured that it was unlikely, as could he have encountered the ice-type divine level. This suggestion made the three-eyed elder propose that they should seek Time Trace to inform him about Time Crystal and asked for his help to save Barrow. However, the other elder disagreed, arguing that if Time Trace intervened, the Time Crystal might no longer be theirs. What if Barrow's inability to transmit messages was just an accident? But the three-eyed elder was adamant. "Barrow, our clans hope he must not die. Otherwise our boudoir family will face complete downfall. If I am wrong, I will bear all consequences. I will go to Time Trace now." Time Trace at this moment is waiting at home for news. He refuses no visitors, no matter who they are, seeking an audience, all for the sake of Violet's prophecy. Time Trace and even spend a lot of money to hire 3 helpers, all of whom were at the divine level. As soon as he got news of his archenemy, he would immediately take his people to annihilate him. Just then an elf-like woman entered the great hall and respectfully said, "Master, 2 elders of the Goodwill family are outside, asking for an audience." Hearing this, Time Trace immediately ordered a mate to bring the 2 off. Normally Time Trace wouldn't have bothered with such small fry, but this time Time Trace then took the two elders to a secret room where they told him everything about the time series crystal and the news of a space series genius who had mastered the space divine technique. Hearing this, Time Trace was shocked and muttered to himself that Violet had not deceived him. This person has even mastered void walking, truly a genius of the space series. The one of it, there are no resources for advancement on that desolate planet, so I must strangle him in the cradle. When Barrow went there, that guy was only at the Emperor level. By the time I get there, he'll be at most sovereign level with 4 divine levels on my side. How could I fear a mere sovereign level? It's just unfortunate that the space tunnel can't safely transport so many divine levels driving a fly. Thinking this, Time Trace quickly said he understood and promised great benefits to the boudoir family once the matter was resolved. Meanwhile, Rice informed Chen Luo about the 4th obstacle and that the person would personally come to the Blue Star to deal with him in 2 months. Chen Luo was so frightened that he shouted, "What should I do?" Rice told Chen Luo that they could only adapt as things unfold. Chen Luo then thought he must urgently improve the special ability space to ensure everyone's safety. So he accelerated the pace of modifying the special ability space and soon created a 50,000 cubic meter space. An hour before Time Trace's arrival, Chen Luo gathered everyone and stuffed them into the special ability space. Rice then solemnly said, "The divine armor is key to your survival. You must never take it off or you will certainly die. It's all up to you now." Hearing this, Chen Luo nodded and then sat down to quietly absorb the crystal. At this moment in Time Trace and his party had already arrived above the Blue Star. Snake Mother said gravely, "Time Trace, you've hired 3 divine levels and more than a dozen demigod levels. You've made such a big move to this remote planet. So you should tell us the purpose of his trip now." Time Trace then shared Violet's prophecy and insisted that the person must die, so he had to strangle him in the cradle. But Snake Mother doubted this approach, questioning if Time Trace's actions today might be the very reason the person would become his enemy in the future. "There's no such thing as baseless hatred. I think you could try to be friends with him." Time Trace immediately dismissed the idea of saying friends. What a laughable word. Are there ever any eternal friends in this universe? He's still weak now for us, for divine levels and several demigod levels. Killing him is easy. Why pretend to be friends? I choose to believe in Lady Violence. I won't be at peace until this potential threat is eliminated. There's no need for further discussion. Eradicate all life on this planet. The Time Trace then commanded Snake Mother to quickly find this person, saying, "I want to kill him in one strike without him knowing." Hearing this, Snake Mother nodded her head and immediately started scanning the life on Blue Star with her eyes covering a large area. Different levels of life appeared as different colors and Snake Mother's eyes. Soon a sovereign level fluctuation appeared in Snake Mother's view. Snake Mother then focused intently and saw a figure wearing purple armor sitting cross-legged on the ground. At this moment, Snake Mother said gravely, "Your plan to ambush might not work. That guy might only be sovereign level, but he's wearing Auburn's armor. Even if you are divine level, it's impossible to kill him instantly." Hearing this, Time Trace was shocked and exclaimed, "Is this kid crazy who wears armor all the time? Is he extremely afraid of death? I was planning to quietly use a spatial rift to instantly kill him once I found him. Now the plan is completely ruined. But it doesn't matter. He can't escape death anyway. I alone him enough to kill him. You guys helped me guard the surroundings to prevent him from escaping." After saying this, Time Trace used void walking to approach Chen Luo and immediately executed a spatial lockdown to prevent him from escaping using void walking. At this moment, Shan Liu suddenly felt an immense pressure trying to crush him into meat paste. If not for the armor resisting this powerful force, he would have likely exploded already. Chen Lula was alarmed and immediately used void walking to leave his original position. Seeing this, Time Trace smiled slightly and clenched his hand again, causing the entire space to experience a void compression. Chen Luo, looking at Time Trace with uncertainty, thought to himself, "Is this person a divine level in space? If I can't beat him, can I still outrun him?" Thinking this, Chen Luo immediately used a void walking. However, with a bang, it was as if he hit something and was blocked by an unknown force within a region. In his previous life, he had encountered such a situation where the enemy used a barrier to prevent his escape, eventually forcing him to improve his void walk to break through barriers. Since then, barriers were just a joke to Jin Luo. At this moment, Time Trace appeared next to Chen Luo using void walking and said, "Take off your armor and give it to me, and I can spare your life." Seeing this, Shan Luo was greatly startled and thought to himself, "This guy can also use void walking, better to run first." Saying this, Chen Luo swiftly escaped the spatial lockdown This scared Time Trace quite a bit as he shouted, "How is this possible? He actually broke through my spatial lockdown. This defies all logic. No one has ever been able to use void walking under spatial lockdown. How did he do it?" Time Trace with trembling hands and in a furious tone shouted, "I must kill you today. You think you can escape? You're still no match for me and Endurance, a divine level ability. It's hundreds of times more powerful and a sovereign level 1, not to mention the quality. Thinking of escaping from me? No." In the sky, two figures were constantly flickering. Unknowingly, he had run into the area of the divine level Thunderwar. Thunderwar was frightened. He hadn't expected someone to escape from Time Trace's grasp under, or thought to himself, wondering if Violet's prophecy would really come true. He immediately contacted Time Trace. "That guy has run over here, come quickly." Upon hearing this, Time Trace coldly said, "Quickly use your ultimate move, make space collapse, I'll be right there." Soon after Time Trace arrived, he and Thunderwar launched their ultimate move, Space Annihilation, and Thunderwar 9 Heavens. Several purple lightning bolts violently struck down from the sky, creating a deafening roar and striking directly at the ground. The energy of the lightning rapidly spread out, turning everything it touched to ash. Meanwhile, the space around John Liu began to shatter, turning into black holes. Fortunately, Chen Luo was wearing divine armor, which protected him from most of the damage. He then used void walking to escape the attack range, thinking to himself how terrifying the power of divine level was. At the same time, due to the intense light from a lightning, Time Trace and Thunderwar couldn't see the situation inside. Then Time Trace said, "Under such a scale of space collapse, he can't use void walking. That guy has armor, so he shouldn't be dead yet, but he must be badly injured." However, when the dust settled, Chen Luo had already disappeared without a trace. Time Trace was infuriated and shouted, "I don't believe he can use void walking indefinitely." Everyone split up in search. "This guy must die today." Suddenly, Snake Mother contacted them. "Where are you two? I feel that he has escaped near me." Time Trace responded, "How is that possible? Let alone using void walking during a space collapse. Even if he could, how could he have the strength to escape? 5,000 kilometers away. Are you sure you sensed it right?" Snake Mother, feeling questioned and displeased, said, "I am divine level and this is my racial talent. How could I be wrong? Stop talking nonsense. Do you still need my help to find him or not?" Time Trace, full of anger, replied, "Search, we must find him or he'll be a continuous threat." Snake Mother, with a gloomy face, regretting getting involved with the Time Trace task bound to eliminate disaster for the pay, reluctantly reactivates her skill to find Chen Luo's. Soon she discovers the bow hiding at the bottom of the seat. Chen Luo, meditating there, thinks, "Let them try to catch me. Will they catch me first, or will I advance the divine level?" Suddenly feeling a sense of dread, he immediately uses void walking to leave his spot. Just after he leaves, a terrifying attack pierces through the seabed, frightening Chin Lulu, who wonders how they found him by scent or mark. "Can I avoid trouble if I can't confront it?" After saying this, Chin Lu escapes to the moon using Voidwalker. Meanwhile, Time Trace and others rush to the seabed to find Chen Luo's body, but find nothing, and exasperated Time Trace shouts, "Can't the kid be killed? How can a void walking be so unreasonable under spatial collapse? Isn't void walking unusable? Or is it just me who can't use it?" Seeing this, Time Trace urgently ordered Snake Mother to locate the boy. But after 2 hours of thorough scanning, Snake Mother still can't find Chen Luo. There are only two possibilities. Either he's continuously using void walking to dodge her scan, or he's hiding in a space she can't detect. Thunder or speaks gravely, "Your theories all require massive energy consumption. Just wait for his energy to run out and he'll have nowhere to hide." Time Trace silent for a moment and speaks fiercely, "No need for complications, just destroy this planet." With that, he conjures a great energy ball which expands to tens of meters high. With cosmic energy still converging towards him, Time Trace marks sinisterly, "I should have done this from the start. I was too soft-hearted. Too bad I won't see the kid's corpse." Snake Mother watches coldly, sensing an ominous feeling, thinking, if the boy survives, he's destined to become a god. Meanwhile, Kun Liu on the moon notices this terrifying energy, panicking, wondering what those people are up to, and if something major is happening. Thinking this, he immediately uses void walking to return to Blue Star, only to see Time Trace preparing to destroy it. Without hesitation, Chen Luo appears and shouts, "If you dare destroy my mother planet, I swear I'll make you pay." This infuriates Time Trace, who thought Chen Luo was hiding in deep space. He yells, questioning the limits of Chen Luo's void walking. and frozen energy ball at him, shouting for him to stop running, but Chen Luo easily dodges with clever movements. Although the attack misses him, the resulting explosion is dozens of times more terrifying than a nuclear bomb. To defend Blue Star, Chen Luo immediately starts to mock Time Trace, loudly taunting, "Come chase me, idiot." He deliberately kept the distance close, wanting Time Trace to see, but not catch him. Time Trace didn't use void walking, just relied on his own speed to doggedly pursue Chen Luo. As Time Trace chased, his expression grew darker. Thinking this kid had his void walked 1,000,000 kilometers, Time Trace quickly accelerated to his front, and just as he was about to catch him, Chen Luo used another void walk to timely dodge, only to be unexpectedly sucked into a black hole, then completely disappeared from Time Trace's sight. It wasn't his intention to enter it. The destination of his void walk just happened to be near the celestial body. Time Trace, with twitching cheeks, stopped, but Chen Luo disappeared, shouting, "Such a rare black devouring star in this kid bumped into." Entering the black devouring star meant he could be randomly teleported to a corner of the universe. Snake Mother and others who arrived later were surprised, never thought this kid would actually escape. Time Trace, purple with rage, roar, "I can't accept this. If I can't catch him, I'll destroy his mother planet." Seeing this, Snake Mother immediately intervened. "Enough, Time Trace, leave us a way out." Time Trace coldly looked at Snake Mother, asking what she meant. Upon hearing this, Snake Mother immediately said that we were seriously duped this time, that guy's prowess in traversing the void is evident to all, plus he has obtained the crystals of Auburn and Isman. In a few decades he could become a. Time Trace scoffed, questioning, "A void walking posed a lethal threat to divine level beings." Snake Mother retorted, "Indeed, killing divine level like us, especially dual ability ones, is hard. But what if he harms our people and escapes? What can you do? I don't want to live in fear all my life. I must consider our people's future and not completely offend him." Others also agreed, suggesting it's wise to leave some room for maneuvering to meet again in the future. Snake Mother thought to herself, while it predicted that Time Trace would die in his hands, it seems inevitable that he'll possess the power to slay gods, not just Voidwalker Kun Liu, not yet a god, frightened 3 divine level beings into submission. Time Trace trembled with anger at their words, thinking, truly there are no friends in the face of interests. Time Trace mocked Snake Mother and the others for fearing a sovereign level being. "It's really a shame for us at the divine level. Even if he can become a god by walking through the void, it doesn't mean we have no way to deal with him. The nemesis, void walking, his time stopping. I just need to find some. After I regroup, I'll return to Blue Star and find that person." After saying this, Time Trace released the spaceship, saying, "We walk different paths, let's part ways here," and he left Blue Star alone. Watching Time Trace's spaceship, Thunderroar said helplessly, "It seems we can no longer be friends." Hearing this, Snake Mother immediately expressed indifference, hoping only that the kid wouldn't trouble them in the future. Meanwhile, as Chen Luo entered Black Devouring Star, he felt dizzy and soon fell out of the mysterious celestial body. The armor on his body detached from him and disappeared into the cosmic dust. The armor had already cracked, resisting Time Trace's attack and bore the pressure for him in the mysterious celestial body. Chen Luo, gasping heavily, thought to himself that he must find new armor for protection. Suspecting that Blue Star was probably destroyed by now, unaware of the identity of his adversary, Kun Liu only remembered their appearance and vowed to find them, especially targeting the space user. His priority was to find a planet to settle on. At this moment, Chen Liu found himself on a picturesque planet surrounded by lush vegetation and fresh air. Without hesitation, he decided to settle there. He released the members from his special ability space. Meili, immediately concerned, asked, "Brotherton Luo, are you all right?" Chen Luo smiled and shook his head and said sentimentally, "Our homeland is probably destroyed. Let's temporarily settle here. If this planet is safe, I'll stay here until I reach a fine level." Just then, Red Lantern Fish suddenly jumped into the river, caught a half-meter-long blue fish and presented it to Sea King. Although Chen Luo was touched by his filial piety, he was concerned about the fish's safety. Suddenly, a cat scream came from the forest, startling Chen Liu, who instinctively looked towards Rice, only to find Rice happily playing by the river, wondering who made the sound. He saw Thunder King approaching with a cat person, saying, "Master, it was this one who made the sound. A cat person frightened me out incessantly." This familiar language immediately caught Rice's attention, who thought to herself, "Why can I understand its words? Am I a descendant of cat people?" Seeing Rice approach, the cat person quickly hid behind her and began to communicate with Rice and the cat language. Rice then translated what she said to Chen Liu. "She's very scared and wants me to take her home. Her people are nearby." Upon hearing this, Chen Lu immediately said, "I'll go with you. I'm not at ease with you going alone." But just as he finished speaking, a large group of cat people suddenly surrounded them, all wearing hateful expressions and staring intently at Chen Luo and his companions. Seeing this, Rice quickly asked in confusion, "Why do you hate us so much?" Then a cat-eared girl coldly said, "Have you been brainwashed by them? They capture our people from time to time. How dare you ask why we hate you?" Listening closely, Rice grew angry, or the more she heard. She then shouted, "Unforgivable! How dare they treat our cat people like this? From now on, you don't have to be afraid of them anymore. I'll protect you." Just as Jin Luo was about to ask Rice what was going on, a group of figures flew towards them and the leader chattered on for a long time. Chen Liu didn't understand a word and was about to ask many to communicate with them telepathically, when a lizard person suddenly used mind transmission, first saying, "This is Lord Canless territory. The cat people here are properties bred by Lord Kemos. You are aliens, right? We've never seen you before. This is not a place for you. Lower Cat Moss is a great demigod-level being." After some conversation, they learned that this was a planet specifically for breeding cat people who are either used for food or sold as pets, mostly for food. No wonder Rice was so angry earlier. The fate of the cat people was so tragic. Then Chen Luo said gravely, "We just want to stay here temporarily," but they were refused by the lizard people, who said, "This is not a place for you. If you don't want to die, leave quickly." Hearing this, Jin Luo expressionlessly said, "I said we'd leave after a while. Did you not understand?" With that, Chen Luo slapped the leader in the face, killing the lizard person instantly. He then coldly said, "Everyone attack, leave none alive." Upon his command, the members immediately rushed forward, swiftly killing all the lizard people. At this moment, the cat-ear girls finally realized that they were not with those bad people. Hearing this, Rice immediately affirmed, "Of course, as long as we're here, we'll never let them bully you again. We won't be leaving for the time being." Half a year passed in a blink of an eye. Besides eating and sleeping, Chen Luo spent his time in a 5 times accelerated time zone absorbing crystals. He finally felt a breakthrough coming. The crystal in his head started to shake violently and split into 2 independent crystals. The moment Chen Luo's space crystal advanced the demigod level, the law of force hidden in the universe instantly came to his sights. Chen Luo was involuntarily brought into the sky, receiving the baptism of the law. As the law revolved around him, spakes of energy entered his body. Meanwhile, Rice, having witnessed Chen Luo's ascension to godhood, also experienced a breakthrough in strength. About half an hour later, Law finally finished transforming Chen Luo's body, signifying his entry into the divine level. However, the runes surrounding Chen Luo were somewhat peculiar, all resembling footprints. These were the marks of Void walking along. But what Chen Luo didn't expect was that the completeness of Law was only at 85%. "What, I've only grasped this much of Void walking? Perhaps it will be perfect when I can traverse the universe with a single thought. I need to focus on mastering the temporal aspect next to achieve godhood in that realm too." At that moment, Shan Liu will notice that Rice also bore the low runes, despite not being at the divine level. Moreover, the runes on Rice kept changing color, sometimes pink, sometimes dark red. Were they changing according to Rice's mood? Shan Luo had a mischievous thought, if I make Rice cry with a punch, will her wounds turn black? As Chen Luo was lost in thought, Rice suddenly shouted angrily, "The killer of the cat people is here. Shan Liu, you must slap them 100 times. Naturally, Chen Luo wouldn't refuse Rice's request. He remarked that the timing was perfect for practice fight to familiarize himself with the power of the divine level. Saying search, Chen Luo used Void walking to confront the intruder. Does scare Kemos immensely. "Wang Yao, what do you want to do?" But before he could finish, Chen Luo used another Void banishment to send him back to Cat Star. Kemos wasted no time in sending a distress signal to his divine level big brother Wang Yao. "Lower, now I've been caught by a newly promoted divine level. Please, you must save me." The big brother can last contacted was Wang Yao, who once went to the blue star with time trace. Upon receiving the message, Wang Yao was momentarily stunned and hurriedly replied, "Don't panic, just mention my name and new divine level should give me some face. If he doesn't, I'll teach him a lesson. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Hearing this, Kemos felt reassured. He approached Chen Luo respectfully and said, "Sir, I am at your service. If I have offended you in any way, I'll make a satisfactory apology. I am a subordinate of Lord Wan. Now could you please spare me this once for his sake?" But before he could finish, a loud slap resounded across his face. At this moment, Chen Luo coldly said, It's useless to be anyone's lackey. If Rice said, he's going to slap you 100 times then not one less. After the sound of slapping echoed, Chen Luo finally finished giving the 100 slaps and trusted by Rice. Although canvas, his face was swollen like a pig's head, he dared not show any resentment or even utter any harsh words like "you'll wait and see." Chen Luo then casually asked, "Who is this one? Now you mention, I've never heard of him." Ken Moss immediately replied respectfully, "Lord Huan Yao is a divine level of the earth element. He ascended to godhood over 30,000 years ago." The implication was clear. Huan Yao had been a god for 30,000 years, and you who have just become a god dare to disrespect him. To this, Chen Lu just responded with an "oh," nonchalantly saying, "Well, there's no one I'm afraid to offend." He continued asking, "Do you know how many divine levels of a space element are there in the universe?" "I don't know the name of time trace, but with the identity of a space element divine level." Just then Huan Yao, like a yellow meteor, landed on Capstar. This delighted Ken Moss, who thought to himself that he was finally saved. "My big brother has arrived. Let's see how you die now." However, Long All looked at Chen Luo with a gaze as if he had seen a ghost, thinking to himself, "How could it be, and it's only been half a year and he's already advanced to divine level? That's just too incredible." So he immediately turned to run away. But then he stopped, thinking that it was impossible to escape in front of this young man. Instead of running, it might be better to clear things up and try to resolve their grudge. But the next second, countless dimensional blades piercing through heaven and earth struck towards him. What used to be a powerful move that required charging was now just a minor skill casually unleashed by Chen Luo. Seeing this, Huan Yao instinctively wanted to swing out on Earth's shield to block. But then he thought, "This attack can't hurt me. I can block it, but I won't. I'll let this young man vent his anger." Under Canvas's disbelieving gaze, Huan Yao kept screaming as he was bombarded by Chen Luo's dimensional blades. How is this possible? A newly promoted divine level youngster can overpower Lord Huan Yao, who ascended to godhood, through his defense. Even Chen Luo himself was stunned. "Am I really that strong?" Huan Dao in a tragic tone said, "Little brother, stop fighting. Let's talk this out. I'll tell you a piece of great news right now. It'll definitely satisfy you." Then Chen Lu coldly asked, "Speak up, what's the good news? Apart from you, all those other people are dead." Luan Yan's mouth twitched. "You really are vicious." Then he turned to Ken Moss and ordered, "You go stand guard on the perimeter without my order. No one is allowed to approach." After Ken Moss left, Huan Yao took out a memory crystal. A video appeared on Time Trace. "Wanted to destroy your home planet." In a fit of powerless rage, we three stopped him. A small asteroid was heading towards Blue Star Snake Mother Thunder War, and I will now join forces to shatter it. Actually, one of us was enough, but all three of us acted to show sincerity. Chen Luo watched with wide eyes, monitoring. "Wasn't Blue Star destroyed by that space system? Did you protect my home planet?" Hearing this, Huan Yao took the opportunity to say, "At that time, Time Trace Tan want to destroy your home planet, but we three stopped him. We all felt that you little brother would." Chen Luo, trembling, said, "Blue Star is still there. That's great." He looked at Huan Yao excitedly. "If what you say is true and we can wipe the slate clean between us of that space system divine level, must die. You just said his name is Time Trace, right?" Long Yao nodded in agreement, essentially betraying Time Trace. He didn't want to be this kind of person. A Chen Lui displayed potential was too astonishing. Chen Luo continued to ask, "What grudge, what grievance? Why did Time Trace want to exterminate me?" Lon. "Yeah, I was in a dilemma." He knew that. He suggested that Sham Lupo could only ask Time Trace for the answer, advising him not to dig too deep or seek to hold her accountable, as her abilities were beyond his comprehension. "That's all I can tell you," he said. Seeing that Huan Yao didn't seem to be joking, Chen Luo didn't press further, and he solemnly said, "I've just entered divine level, and there's much I don't understand. Is there any realm above divine level?" Huan Yao immediately clarified that there isn't. A divine level is already the highest level in this universe. He explained that the strength of a divine level is measured by how many laws they have acquired. However, having more laws doesn't necessarily mean they are stronger than those with fewer laws. It also depends on their completion rate of these laws. "Little brother, what's your completion rate for your void walking law?" The law must have hinted at it. Cheng Li will respond to that. "It's only 85%. Upon hearing this, Huan Yao was shocked and exclaimed, "Reaching 30% would be favored by the law allowing the demigod level to advance the divine level. And you have reached 85%. The level of comprehension affects the degree to which the law remodels oneself. This means that a divine level who has comprehended to laws at 30% each would be inferior to you in strength. I suggest you enter deep space to comprehend further, where you can find various spatial energies. Mastering them, you will eventually understand various spatial laws. He then asked, is it possible to become a god with dual abilities? Wang Yao nodded and said, it's possible. The first awakened element is always more attuned to oneself. The second one is somewhat less so, therefore, the earlier the second ability is awakened, the better, indicating higher talent. Chen Luo thought to himself, and it matched his thoughts. Although awakening dual abilities earlier increases the demand for crystals, it's a worthwhile trade. He then inquired about how many last time Trace had comprehended. Wang Yao immediately answered that Time Trace had understood to loss, one for attack and the other for teleportation. Time Trace had become a divine level and wealthy through his expertise in spatial teleportation during the Woodward family's invasion of Blue Star. They had paid him a large sum to build a spatial tunnel. Through amassed wealth, Time Trace had made many connections. Shan Luo scoffed, so he's just a transporter. Luan Yin lamented that spatial types could handle transportation, metal types could work on equipment, and natural types could deal with divine herbs, while their earth type was reduced to mere laborers helping others with construction. When Time Trace approached him, Snake Mother and Thunderroar, he offered 1 million purple crystals for accompanying him to Blue Star, with an additional 2 million upon success. Shan Liu will remember Aisman's space ring, which contained a few 1,000 purple crystals. It seemed they were really willing to pay a high price to deal with him. He quickly asked Wang Yao one purple crystal could buy. Wang Yao thought for a moment and said that an ordinary cat-eared girl would be worth half a purple crystal, while a top-quality one could sell for 10,000. Luan Yan then turned serious and orange Chen Luo of that. Despite his powerful void walking ability, it was not invulnerable. He knew of two methods to counter it at the time system's time freeze and the psychic system's mental attacks. The former was almost unsolvable, while the latter wouldn't threaten his life, but could easily distract him. Once drawn into an illusion, getting her was inevitable. However, Chen Luo himself was at the time system making time freeze. Wang Yao said deeply introduced him to the situation in the universe. In the universe, there are already several top divine level beings who have comprehended 6 laws. There are also 2 gods who have comprehended 8 laws. Currently, the most special law is the causal law controlled by Violet. If you offend her, you will be punished by the unseen causality. Moreover, she can reincarnate after death. Chen Luo listened. Moran felt better ability as a bit like Rice's. However, she is much weaker than Rice. If Rice wants you to be unlucky, you can't even avoid it. It's just a pity that Rice has not yet grown out. Little do they know that once Rice grows up, Violet will be nothing but trash. After one meal finished introducing the situation in the universe, he didn't dawdle and immediately took out a purple crystal card and said, young brother, this card contains 3 million purple crystals. We'll definitely need it. Since you're new here, don't think it's too little. I've offended you before. Saying this, Wang Yao stuffed the purple crystal card into his pocket. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave now. After sending off Wang Yao, Chen Luo found Rice and asked her what would be best to do next. Although he already knew the address of Time Trace, with his current strength, he couldn't kill him yet. Hearing this, Rice immediately said that fighting is not your strong suit, but running away. You are number 1 in this universe. With this remark, Chen Luo suddenly realized, right then, I'll set off now to look for suitable equipment on other planets. Your runes are very special, Rice. It's better not to let others see them. Hearing this, Rice immediately assured him, don't worry. I know what I'm doing. Sometimes showing the runes can avoid some trouble. Let's not talk about this now. Hurry up and take me to taste the food on various planets. Hearing this, Chen Luo didn't dawdle and immediately agreed. You go call the others and we'll go to other planets to see. Then Chen Liu will wrap his entire body with law and flew straight into the vast universe. Soon Chen Liu arrived at a glittering golden planet. This is a 9th level civilized happy planet named Volti, also a very famous shopping paradise. As long as you have money, you can enjoy everything in the universe here. Shan Liu and his companions were curious about everything like country bumpkins entering the city, and they started a shopping spree. Whatever they took a fancy to, they bought it. Then they arrived at the top floor Cloud Restaurant. At this time, Chen Liu boldly said, except for this, and this, bring me one of every kind. This scared the waiter, who hurriedly shouted, are you sure you want to order so much? Chen Luo didn't pay attention and directly took out the purple crystal card to pay. The next second, everyone started a crazy eating mode, all exclaiming how delicious. The food was totally different from the food on their Blue Star. This meal alone cost 520,000 purple crystals. Firstly, the prices here were the most expensive in the entire universe. And secondly, this group of foodies could really eat. Seeing that they were big spenders, the waiter politely presented a stack of promotional posters saying, "Sir, with your status, you are eligible to attend tomorrow's private auction. You might be interested in checking it out." Shan Luo casually took the poster and glanced at it, his pupils suddenly narrowing. On the poster was a silver helmet specifically designed to defend against psychic attacks, exactly the kind of equipment Chen Luo urgently needed. This helmet was only the third-ranked item. The second was a flying sock. Shan Luo flicked the poster and then asked the waiter if these items had already arrived. The waiter quickly replied that the auction was to be held the next day, and the items would only be delivered to the site on the day itself. Chen Liu nodded, thinking that he could only take action tomorrow. The next morning, Chen Liu put Meli and others into his special ability space and then disguised himself as Yuri, a base member, and leisurely walked into the auction. The MC walked to the center of the stage and began introducing the auction items. The first item was a flower fairy from the Dora clan with sovereign level strength. The Dora clan possessed the trait of eternal youth, and with her sovereign level strength she could maintain her appearance for 2,000 years. The starting bid was 100,000 purple crystals. The MC assured that there was no need to worry about her betrayal, as her clan members were under the control of the seller. If she dared to betray, she would become a criminal of a race. Hearing this, Chen Lula was expressionless, thinking to himself, "Is this the tragedy of the week? That there were too many pitiable people in Shinluo couldn't save them all." Eventually, the flower fairy was sold for 380,000 purple crystals. The second item, Kok Chen Luoi, was a sovereign level sublimation grass. With a starting bid of 300,000 purple products, consuming it would directly grant someone sovereign level potential, although it was useless for Chen Luo Mei, who had been stuck at level 8 and couldn't advance. Without a second thought, he bought the sovereign level sublimation grass for 650,000 purple crystals. The next three items were the highlights of the day. The first to be auctioned was the silver helmet, Chen Luo's main target. The MC announced that it was personally crafted by Master Norton, designed to counter psychic attacks, guaranteeing immunity from demigod-level attacks, and greatly reducing divine-level psychic attacks. The starting bid was 8 million purple crystals. Hearing this, Shan Liu was shocked, wondering to himself if metalworking was so profitable. He had seen Lan Yu craft equipment. These metalworkers seemed to have a business with no cost. After a round of bidding, the helmet was quickly bid up to 12 million purple crystals. It scourged Chen Luo quite a bit. To put it in perspective, a complete set of auburn armor was only worth 10 million. Therefore, he was determined to get this helmet. However, Kun Liu didn't place a bid. A sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth, and he thought to himself, spending money on a sublimation grass was already giving you enough face. Now it's time for you to show me some respect. The next second, the lights in the auction house suddenly went out, followed by the backup lights instantly turning on. The whole venue was in darkness for only 0.01 seconds. The auctioneer, with an unchanged expression, smiled, then announced 12 million wants. Any higher bids? Just then, out of the corner of his eye, the auctioneer seemed to notice something and suddenly shouted, "Where's the helmet?" Chen Luo chuckled inwardly, thinking, a simple glass cover things that can stop me. Who do they underestimate? Soon after, a team of uniformed security guards walked towards the audience with serious expressions, but they found nothing. The surveillance cameras didn't capture any clues either. They couldn't understand how the helmet, which was inside a crystal cover, could just vanish. This was the first time. Without any evidence, they naturally didn't dare to search the bodies of the VIP guests, as all the attendees were distinguished figures. The auctioneer then quickly reassured everyone, "Please remain calm. It's just a minor interruption. Please rest assured the auction will continue." The next item for auction was a centerpiece, the vermilion fruit. Almost everyone present, including about 10 divine-level individuals, came for this fruit. To Chen Luo of surprise, this vermilion fruit turned out to be a living entity, with a humanoid appearance. Consuming this fruit for the first time could increase one's lifespan by 10,000 years. Shan Lula's original purpose was only for the helmet, but seeing this treasure, he decided to take it along since he was already there. Considering his previous theft of the helmet, the organizers would definitely mark the vermilion fruit or use some other means. Getting caught didn't matter to him, as he was in the guise of Yuri at that time. Just as the auctioneer excitedly announced the last item for the day 2, everyone's shocked. The vermilion fruit mysteriously disappeared right before their eyes, and alarm sounded immediately. A large number of guards entered the venue. Then a little old man with a serious expression stepped onto the stage and shouted, "Seal off the entire venue." The thief must still be inside. The vermilion fruit can't be stored in a spatial ring. So we ask our distinguished guests to cooperate. Don't worry, we won't search your spatial rings. Please. Soon a guard approached Chen Luo and respectfully asked him to stand up and turn around. Chen Luo complied without hesitation and thought to himself, just because other spatial rings can't store living things doesn't mean mine can't. After a thorough search, the old man's mentality completely collapsed because after turning this place upside down, they still haven't found the vermilion fruit. The other divine levels present also had mixed feelings, wondering how it was done. It's already incomprehensible, but it was stolen under. At this moment a divine level, unable to contain his anger, roared for this vermilion fruit. I saved purple crystals frugally for 50,000 years and even borrowed some from friends. Now my end is near. Without this vermilion fruit I'm certain to die. I don't care, you must find another one for me. Hearing this, Qinyue was shocked. His end is near and he's a divine level of the lightning element. He saved purple crystals for 50,000 years, if not 50 million, then at least 30 million. Chen Luo immediately had an evil thought. If I kill this old man, not only can I get a large amount of purple crystals, but also obtain a divine level crystal. As for morality and ethics, Isman had already taught him a lesson before. In the universe, the stronger revered one must be unscrupulous for power, dignity, pride, all nonsense. The essence of the universal law is plunder. Although Chen Luo can't defeat this divine level, he can use time acceleration against him. This move is useless against a normal divine level, but it's not a big problem for one whose end is near at this time. The old man helplessly said, Mark, be rational, we don't want this to happen either. Upon hearing this, Malmo became furious. Rational, it's not your end that's near, of course you can afford to be indifferent here. Seeing this, the old man quickly tried to appease him. I fully understand your feelings, but even if you tear this place apart now, it's of no use. Why not try your luck elsewhere? Maybe you'll find another one to compensate for your loss. We're willing to pay 100,000 and travel expenses, how about that? After Mom was snorted coldly, he took the compensation and left in anger. Chen Luo thought to himself, could this be a performance stage by the auction house for me to see? After all, a successful thief would certainly need to dispose of his stolen goods if not used personally, and this unwitting bear is eagerly exposing himself. But whether it's a trap or not, I've taken the bait. I'm Yuri, who do I fear? Malmo had just left when suddenly a paper note appeared in front of him. Instinctively he picked it up and read, do you want a vermilion fruit? I happen to have one. If you're interested, come to the outskirts of the Charles planet. Malmo was overjoyed upon reading this. He immediately sped towards Charles planet. Soon, Malmo arrived at the agreed location. Seeing this, Chen Luo quickly approached to greet him. At Malmo, impatient said, caught the crap, where's the vermilion fruit? Chen Luo smiled slightly and responded, the vermilion fruit from the auction was indeed taken by me, but it's currently with a friend of mine, who was on his way here. He'll arrive in 3 months. Malmo immediately threatened, if you dare play tricks or double-cross me, I'll risk my old life and explode to take you down with me. Chen Luo will quickly assured him, saying they were just petty thieves and not bold enough for such actions. He thought to himself, at the longer he could delay, the greater the chance of killing Malmberg. Chen Luo and seriously offered vermilion fruit, is a priceless treasure. How about selling it? You're not thinking of selling it at the original price, are you? 40 million purple crystals, take it or leave. I'll leave right away if you don't sell. Chen Luo will quickly agreed to Malmo's offer. Although his initial plan was to delay for a few months before taking action, suddenly Malmo took out a communicator and said, you come here too. If I get cheated, the purple crystals you lent me will be gone too. A familiar voice came from the other side, agreeing and saying he would arrive soon. Chen Luo watched coldly, recognizing the voice of Time Trace. Malmo then smiled and said, to prevent you from double-crossing, it's not too much to call a friend over, right? Kun Liu immediately agreed, saying of course not. In that case, I will send you on your way right now. As soon as he finished speaking, Malmo shouted in anger, accusing Kun Liu of deceiving him, and summoned a purple lightning, striking at him with incredible speed. However, Chen Luo didn't confront it head-on but used to avoid walk to dodge the attack. Malmo was initially stunned and coldly said, so what if you can avoid walk? Do you think you can escape my wrath? Like that, he then activated a skill that caused a spatial collapse, preventing the use of void walking, and launched an attack action. Chen Luo, however, was not alarmed, pleased, thinking to himself, at Malmo's mastery of lightning power was similar to that of Thunder King. Now that Thunder King had reached demigod level, absorbing maleness law comprehension could definitely advance him to divine level. However, just as Malmo was about to hit Chen Luo at the last moment, he once again used the Void Walk to dodge Malmo's powerful move. This scared Malmo considerably, who hastily exclaimed, "Under the circumstances, you shouldn't be able to use Void Walk," and willing to give up. Malmo continued to attack Chen Luo several more times, but all were evaded. While infinitely using Void Walk, Chen Luo kept accelerating time on Malmo. Realizing something was wrong, Malmo thought, "Why am I wasting my time here? If I can't catch this kid, better to hurry and find the vermilion fruit to extend my life." But as he tried to leave with Jin Lu, using Void Banishment, the next second Malmo found himself back in his original place. Infuriating him, he shouted, "I'm not even bothering with you anymore. What more do you want?" Hearing this, Jin Luo smiled slightly. "Of course I want your life." He then immediately used time acceleration to drain Malmo's life. At this moment, Malmo also realized something was amiss. Suddenly, terrifying thunder and lightning burst out from his body, rapidly expanding in all directions. He wanted to use a massive attack to leave Chen Luo with no room to escape. Chen Luo, however, chose not to dodge, thinking, "What if this guy takes the chance to escape, and all is for naught." Although the attack seemed powerful, it was to disperse to harm a divine level being. "I'll take this attack," Kun Liu decided, and a spatial shield appeared around him, blocking all the lightning attacks. At this time, Malmo suddenly coughed and his appearance aged rapidly. Seeing this, Chen Luo didn't hesitate and immediately accelerated time. But chill went through Malmo's heart, thinking, "Is my life coming to an end?" He then roared in anger, "Are you going to let me go or not? If you don't let me leave, I'll self-destruct, even though I can't kill you. You will be severely injured." Hearing this, Jin Luo paused, thinking this guy was our. Malmo felt his life fading away, growing weaker and weaker. He yelled at Chen Luo, "It's all your fault. If it weren't for you, I would have already obtained the vermilion fruit. You'll have to join me in death." However, as soon as he finished speaking, Malmo realized he no longer had the strength to self-destruct. In a panic, Malmo quickly pulled out a purple crystal card and tried to destroy it with all his might. The event happened so suddenly that by the time Jin Luo used Void Walker to snatch the purple crystal card, it was already ruined. Malmo laughed wildly, saying, "All your schemes are in vain. This card is already destroyed. You won't get a single purple crystal from it." He laughed and coughed simultaneously, but soon as laughter stopped abruptly, to his disbelief, the destroyed purple crystal card became intact again. Chen Luo looked at Malmo as if, "You were a fool," muttering, "Did you think I could only accelerate time? It shouldn't be surprising that I can reverse time. You're still too naive to play mind games with me." As soon as the words were spoken, Malmo collapsed directly onto the ground. Chen Luo then took out his divine level lightning crystal. After a moment of contemplation, he figured that Time Trace would arrive soon. He wondered whether to wait for him, but quickly dismissed the thought, realizing that even if Time Trace came, he couldn't kill him, only provoking relentless pursuit. Deciding to let him live a bit longer, Chen Liu immediately left the area. However, no sooner had he left in time, Trace arrived at the planet. Seeing the remnants of battle, Time Trace called out monomers named several times to no answer, worrying that Malmo, who had mentioned making a deal here, might have been double-crossed. Regretting the 10 million purple crystals he had lent Malmo, Chen Luo planned to purify the blue star and soon arrived at a bustling planet near it. He entered a shop specializing in natural items filled with various spiritual herbs, woods and liquids perfect to purify the blue star. He began an extravagant shopping spree, buying everything appealing, including star trees with purification abilities, shrimp for water purification, and the succulent pig Laos beast, ordering 100 tons of each. This shot the shopkeeper, "You're not joking, are you?" Hearing this, Chen Luo's eyes widened. "Can I buy this much?" The shop owner quickly responded with a smile. No, it's just that the amount you want is quite large. It might take a little while. Where's your spaceship parked? I'll arrange for someone to help you load it directly." Upon hearing this, Chen Luo suddenly realized something. Although he can store living beings in his special ability space, he must never reveal it in front of others. He remembered that when he killed Isman, he found a spaceship in our space rain, but he was unable to open it. It seemed to require Finn. Then he handed the card to the boss, indicating that he should start preparing. In this universe, Kun Liu only knew how Lan Ya well, so he immediately contacted Huan Yao and asked if he knew someone who could modify spaceships. Hearing this, Huan Yao quickly responded that he did know someone, but the modification cost was a bit expensive, probably around 3 million purple crystal. You know the situation in my hometown. I need someone to help with the purification money. It's no issue, I'm willing to offer 5 million. If that's not enough, I can add more. Hearing this, Huan Yao was shocked and thought to himself, just now it was 3 million, now it's 5 million, brother, or are you making up? At this moment the boss said that everything Shan Liu had ordered was ready. He noted that the spaceship seemed too small to carry everything and asked if Chen Luo needed him to contact an interstellar transporter. Chen Luo immediately responded that he would appreciate the boss's help and ask for it. Hearing this, the boss didn't hesitate and immediately contacted the most famous interstellar transporter in the area. Then the boss introduced him, saying this is Lord Seth, the proud disciple of Lord Time Trace. Hearing this, Chinua was stunned. What Time Trace's disciple? This is truly a narrow road for enemies. Then don't blame me for being ruthless. But outwardly he kindly asked how much would it cost to transport 100,000 piglets or beasts to Capstar. Seth quickly made an estimate and replied that transporting 100,000 piglets or beasts would require 10 trips, each costing 50,000 purple crystals. Upon hearing this, the boss was shocked and thought to himself, ripping off customers isn't done like this, is it? You're really asking for a lion's share. AR. Chen Luo wasn't foolish either. These beasts are worth just tens of 1,000s of purple crystals, and you're asking for a transportation fee to 500,000. Setting up a space tunnel takes at most 3 days. You a demigod level, earning 500,000 purple crystals in 3 days. Is there any justice? Annie Lo Yuren. Seth had heard that this guy was a big spender, so he planned to fleece him, but what he never expected was that Chen Luo, without even bargaining, just paid with his card. Indeed, as the boss said, this guy really was a fool with too much money. Chen Luo thought to himself, you can earn all you want. Then Seth started building the space tunnel while Chen Luo asked him about the precision of his deliveries. How can you ensure that these items will be delivered to Catstar? Sanction Luo settle the bill so readily. Seth didn't hold back and explained, in our line of work, first, you need to be familiar with the universe's coordinates, then you build the space tunnel according to the coordinates, direction, and distance. At this, Chen Luo suddenly understood he didn't know how to transport back to Blue Star before because he was unclear about its exact location. Fortunately, Huan Yao had taught him how to read interstellar coordinates. Shan Lu felt something at that moment. Although the power of space transportation was different from void walking, the two were quite similar. It was impossible to complete ultra-long-distance transportation solely with his own abilities. He had to utilize the power of space itself. Just then Seth said he had already transported 10,000 beasts. My ability has been drained. I need to rest before continuing. Upon hearing this, Chen Lu indifferently said, step aside. I'll do it myself. Seth was stunned. What do you mean? Chen Luo closed his eyes and a space tunnel formed in his hands, frightening Seth. This guy is actually in the same business. Before Seth could understand the situation, Chen Liu had already built a tunnel to Blue Star. This scared the boss quite a bit. He immediately shouted, you can do this too. Seth with a gloomy face said, professional work should be left to professionals. Space transportation isn't as simple as you think. Hearing this, Chen Luo gave him a look and then coldly said, are you teaching me how to do my job? Hearing this, Seth quickly said he didn't dare to do so. What I mean is, even if you build it yourself, the money can't be refunded. That's my role. Upon hearing this, Shan Liu immediately retorted, you a demigod level are talking to me about rules, choosing money over your life. Surprisingly, Seth remained calm in the face of the threat, stating that violence was strictly forbidden on this planet and that it was guarded by 2 divine level beings. Besides, I am a proud disciple of Time Trace. You can't mock me like this. If you don't need me to build the space tunnel, then I'll leave. Shan Luo slightly smiled upon hearing this and said, today I'll give Time Trace some respect and not trouble you get lost. Seth's eyes flickered with a hint of triumph as he pretended to leave respectfully, thinking to himself that there was no way he would refund the money. Just then the sky suddenly lit up with endless colorful rays. That's right. The second was here. Chen Liu mumbled to himself, looking up at the sky in bewilderment. I was just trying casually. How did the law come so easily? But I like it. Come on, baptize me with all your might. At this moment, all beings on the planet watched the sky endlessly. The radiance also attracted the attention of the 2 divine level beings guarding the planet, Richard of the fire element and Sentai of the wine element. They initially thought Seth had ascended to godhood and quickly flew towards the light. Upon arrival, they realized there was not Seth who had become a god. Seth closely examined Chen Luo's low runes and exclaimed he actually comprehended the space transport law. It's exactly like the runes I've seen on Time Trace. This made both divine level beings envious. Another god is about to be born. However, Chen Luo appeared frustrated as his mastery over the space transport was only at 33%, far below his 85% mastery, void walking. Seth arriving later was in disbelief. How is this possible? He just learned space transport and now he's comprehended the law. What about my 1,000 years of meticulous study? He felt utterly humiliated. Thinking this, Seth's expression darkened as he took out his communication tool and immediately contacted Time Trace Master. There's trouble. Someone is competing with your business. He has mastered the space transport law just like you. Time Trace was shocked upon hearing this and demanded to know who it was. When Seth transmitted the scene, Time Trace was frightened. This is impossible. How can it be this young man wasn't the only strong and void walking? How did he ascend to godhood with space transport? Upon closer inspection, he realized that Shan Luo was enveloped into loss, indicating that he had already become a god before. And like him, he was a god of loss. After Chen Luo comprehended the second law, Time Trace was seething with rage, murmuring to himself, Lord Violet indeed didn't deceive me. Even if I don't make a move due to interest, spat lad, and I will become archenemies. The greatest enmity is no more than killing one's parents or blocking one's wealth. Even if I don't deal with him. What about? At that moment, Seth softly said, Master, should we find a way to kill him? Otherwise your high-end market share will be snatched away by him. Seth's words made Time Trace's expression darkened, like still water. I don't know how that lad will compete with me for business next. Maybe I just took a deal for 500,000 purple crystals and he might take it for 100,000. This is literally being out-compete to death. But that lad can use void walking infinitely. What can I do against him? Now I have no choice but to seek Lord Violet's. How I can't deal with him, but maybe the causal system has a way to. Meanwhile, on the other side, after Chen Luo just finished receiving the law modification and returned to the ground, Richard and Sentai rushed forward to make acquaintances. Young man, you've mastered the exceedingly rare law of spatial teleportation. Your future is boundlessly wealthy. Saying this, Richard fiddled with his spatial ring and then took out a demigod-level crystal of the light system to give to him. Chen Luo smiled and accepted the crystal. Thanks, brother. I really like this gift. Seeing this scent, I didn't want to be outdone and immediately took out a land deed to give to Chen Liu. This is a house on this planet. It's not luxurious, but it gives you a place to stay when you come here in the future. Chen Liu with a grand gesture said, Thank you, brothers. I've just arrived and don't have much to offer. So let me host a dinner tonight and let's all have a big meal together. During the meal, Sentai seriously warned young brother, the news about your mastery of the spatial teleportation law will spread quickly. You need to be wary of Time Trace. You're in the same business and that often makes for the fiercest rivalry. Be careful of his underhanded tactics. Richard suggested you should find a strong backer as soon as possible. Hearing this, Chen Luo smiled and nodded, thinking to himself, void walking is my biggest backer. The one who should be worried about being ambushed is him, not me. After a satisfying meal, Chen Liu will resume the shopping spree and soon noticed a snakeskin bag that caught his eye. An old man approached with a smile, saying, My lord, you have a good ibis, is the treasure of our store. Shan Luo curiously asked, Tamir, snakeskin bag is the treasure of the store. The old man, not the least bit offended, smiled and explained, this bag is crafted from the shed skin of the mother of all snakes. Its utility lies in holding living things such as spiritual herbs and creatures which cannot be placed in spatial rings. It's especially useful if you're worried about them escaping from your hands. With this bag, even a demigod level being cannot escape once inside. Hearing this, Chen Luo's eyes lit up. This really seems like an essential artifact for home. It's perfect for my plan to capture Seth. This snakeskin bag couldn't be more suitable. He immediately inquired about the price. The elder held up one finger. For you, a special price, 1 million purple crystals. Upon hearing the words, Chen Luo was shocked and dismayed. Just for the shabby snakeskin bag, you have the nerve to ask for 1 million. I don't think you want to keep your shop open, Nanny. The old man was startled. Just the cost of raw materials, 750,000 purple crystals, minus the processing fee. I really didn't make much. Senior master who has just comprehended the law, I gave you this discount. Shan Lu felt there might be some reason to it after hearing this, especially since the bag can contain a demigod level being. Even inquire Is this mother of 1,000 snakes hard to breed? The raw materials are so expensive. It's not really that actually the mother of 1,000 snakes is of divine level force. Chen Luo immediately thought of someone upon hearing this mother of 1,000 snakes wouldn't happen to be the snake mother, would it? Without hesitation he spent a hefty sum to purchase it. Then Chen Luo inquired about Seth's address, and immediately used a void walk to arrive at his home. At that moment Seth was sitting at a table drowning his sorrows and drink, cursing under his breath. The kid is definitely doing. My master will never allow him to cause trouble. But just then a snakeskin back suddenly appeared above Seth's head, capturing him with the speed of lightning. Realizing what was happening, Seth immediately began to struggle, but was knocked unconscious by Chinua with a slap. He then took him through a long-distance void walker, arriving at a remote planet in 3 seconds. Then he released Seth and started a barrage of punches and kicks, really laying into him, muttering to himself, taking me for a fool, a proud student of time trace, hot talking to me about rules. My rule is the rule. In no time Seth's screams echoed across the stars. In just 2 minutes Seth died in such an unclear and baffling manner. Then Chen Luo excitedly rubbed his hands. Let's see how much money you have on your purple crystal car. He swiftly took Seth's spatial rain, then pulled out the purple crystal card. Inside, to his utter shock, the balance was only 1.3 million purple crystals. How is this possible? This guy is a space series demagogue level, a master of spatial teleportation, and he has lived nearly 2,000 years for this meter wealth. Suddenly realizing something, Chen Luo quickly reached into Seth's brain cavity, then extracted his demagogue level crystal. Soon he found a small bump on the crystal, which was precisely Seth's special ability space. As Chen Luo fiercely squeezed it, Seth's special ability space exploded instantly, delighting Chen Luo immensely. Sure enough, this guy had all his wealth in his unique space. Most of what burst out were books, along with another purple crystal card and some bottles and jars. Chen Luo hurriedly picked up the purple crystal card and swiped it through the card reader. His eyes nearly popped out of his head when he saw the amount inside. My goodness, 520 million purple crystals. He also discovered a notebook of Seth's containing insights on the law, which he began to peruse. Just then Richard and Sentai suddenly contacted Jim Luo. We have a big business proposal for you. The Woolsey Empire is planning to build a teleportation array. Previously, all such projects were done by Time Trace, but now you can do it too. We've recommended you to the Empire. 200,000 purple crystals per teleportation point with a total of 10 arrays needed. That's 2 million purple crystals in total. Sen, I expressed his envy to million a year. I'm so envious, brother. Just not in this deal is yours. Upon hearing this, Chen Luo fell into deep thought. He had never considered using spatial teleportation law for money-making, and the 2 million purple crystals didn't seem like much to him, so he dismissively responded, thanks for the thought, but I have another friend to meet and really can't take on tea. Richard, in disbelief, exclaimed, that's a deal worth 2 million a year. Do you have a mind at home or something? But Chinua was adamant, insisting he had more important matters to attend to, and then he ended the communication. Meanwhile, after learning that Chen Luo mastered spatial law, Time Trace went to find Violet. Seeing her fishing by the river, he didn't dare to disturb her and just stood quietly behind her. After a couple of minutes, Violet finally spoke in a mild tone. Time Trace, you've come again. Have you resolved the matter of the life and death enemy? Upon hearing her words, Time Trace immediately explained the situation to Violet, then fell to his knees. You must help me, the bow's growth rate is too fast. It's making me lose sleep. Violet muttered to herself, is it karma or destiny after all? Not yet mature karma can't possibly break the prophecy I've laid down, then it must be destiny. But suddenly she burst into laughter, puzzling Time Trace. Without explaining, she shouted wildly, they say when destiny is absent, karma reigns supreme. Destiny stands above karma, but I don't believe it. Why should it be so? Let's have a contest. I've grown through countless hardships to reach where I am now, and your life has been good, clinging to a powerful support, avoiding many disasters. With cold eyes gazing at the calm lake in front of her, she decided to take action against Chen Liu and coldly stated, don't worry, I'll make a move. Hope sparked in Time Trace. She asked, great, Violet, if you're taking action, when will he die? Violet replied indifferently, don't rush, let the bullet fly for a while, you just go back and wait, remember, let nature take its course. Time Trace, not daring to say more, of eight, yes, your command, thinking to himself, the mysterious law of karma is unpredictable, but Violet's prowess is unquestionable. Chen Luo, you're definitely done for this time. However, in the next moment, Violet spat out a mouthful of old blood, which startled her. How could this be? I didn't even strike it. That person of destiny merely meddled a bit with the karma of that spatial being and suffered such severe backlash. Could that spatial being have something special? Suddenly Violet aged decades and just a moment. Damn it, that spatial being is no less than destiny itself, but it doesn't matter, his destiny has already changed. Let's wait and see. Meanwhile, Lawn House Butler suddenly came in search. There's a young man named Chen Luo's looking for you outside. He says he's your friend. Hearing this, Wang Yao spirits lifted. Please invite him. No wait, I'll go. Greeting myself quickly. Call literally. One yelled and personally welcomed Chen Luo. Just then a burly figure approached shouting, Father, did you call for me? One, I'll quickly introduce them. This is your uncle Chen. Although Long Li appeared younger than Chen Liu, he respectfully greeted Chen Luo as Uncle Chen. In response, Shen Luo didn't hesitate and pulled out the purple crystal card worth over $1 million as a greeting gift. Widely accepted it without much ado, thanking him before excitedly leaving with the card. Quan yelled and spoke gravely, I've arranged everything for the spaceship modification. You just need to find Snake Mother. She can even give you a discount. However, finding a light system expert skilled in purification is challenging due to your moth. At that moment one male suggested, let me ask Snake Mother, maybe she can find someone. He contacted Snake Mother, who immediately responded, no need to worrying about finding a light system expert. I can handle it. I'll accompany Kun Liu to Blue Star myself. Chen Luo was overjoyed at the offer. What are we waiting for? Let's go to Snake Mother now. Wan Al agreed, ready to set off. We can use La to fly. They'll take about 10 days to get there. Chen Luo simply smiled. It won't take 10 days, just give me the coordinates for Snake Mother. Hearing this, Wang Yao exclaimed, brother, are you suggesting we walk there on a divine level? And that's quite a drain on your energy. Before he could finish, Chen Luo will reveal the spatial transfer law, startling Wang Yao. Brother, this is incredible. How have you achieved to laws in just a few days? Maybe I should start calling you Big Brother, Shen Luo casually remarked. Actually, I'm quite surprised myself. I didn't expect to grasp the second law so easily. Wang Yao, I was speechless at this. Is even speaking like a normal person. Darn it, he's showing off again. As Zhang Liu began creating the spatial tunnel, Wang Yao shared some background on Snake Mother. Snake Mother's story is quite tragic. Just like Cat Star, Snake Star was known not only for its beautiful inhabitants, but also as a delicacy. It wasn't until Snake Mother ascended to divinity that the fate of Snake Star changed. She's very compassionate and has worked tirelessly to earn money to nurture the snake race, hoping to produce another divine level being to protect Snake Star. When Time Trace wanted to destroy the Blue Star, Snake Mother was the first to stand against him, so I asked you, Big Brother, please be considerate towards her. Chen Luo immediately responded, of course. It seems I owe her a favor. Snake Mother sounds like someone I should get along with, especially since we'll need her help to purify the Blue Star. Quickly he finished constructing the tunnel to Snake Star, and they arrived at the world of Snake Mother. Wang Yao, familiar with the place legend, Luo directly to Snake Mother's lair. Built atop a world tree, it had reached demigod level, emanating immense energy. Wang Yao shouted, Snake Mother, we have guests. How is this possible? Even with law flying, it should take at least 10 days to half a month. It's been less than an hour. 1 hour, chuckled the shop I felt earlier will soon be yours to experience. Just try not to be too surprised. Snake Mother was momentarily stunned before she clasped her hands together and bowed to Chen Luo out of desperation. I troubled you and that was wrong with me. I beg and apologize to you here. Seeing Snake Mother's sincere attitude, Chen Lu will quickly return the bow. No fight, male acquaintance. Thank you, Snake Mother, for helping me protect my home planet. Once inside, Snake Mother curiously asked, you just contacted me a moment ago. How did you arrive so quickly? Did you contact me when you were already close? Wang Yao, with a proud expression, revealed, we traveled here through a spatial tunnel. My big brother has now mastered the spatial transfer law. This. Just give me a moment, said Snake Mother before she walked into the world tree. She returned with a shining object. This is a world tree seed. Planting it on Blue Star will not only provide abundant energy, but also purify all impurities. Wang Yao was shocked. You have such a treasure and you always so frugal or willing to give it away at auction. This would fetch a minimum of 30 million, and it's not something you can just buy with money. Chen Luo took the seed, puzzled. Cunis seed, purify the pollution brought by Albert. Snake Mother shook her head. Proceed alone isn't enough. I have other methods to purify the pollution. Once we're at Blue Star, you will see. I guarantee we can completely eliminate the pollution. Chen Luo didn't hesitate and immediately took out Set's card containing over 50 million purple crystals, but Snake Mother refused to accept it. Chen Luo mentally noted, I'll remember this favor. If you ever need anything from me, I will do my utmost to help. Then with a stern face Snake Mother ushered Huanyo out of the room. She turned back to Jim Lulu with a smile. Since you're alone, I found some juniors to take care of you. Without waiting for Chen Luo's reaction, she called in for charming women. They are all demigod level. I very excellent juniors. Their names are Spring, Summer, Autumn and Winter from now on. They will serve you. You can also give them some guidance. Chen Luo was quite alarmed by Snake Mother's offer, thinking to himself, this has troubled Melee, is watching everything in the space. He then firmly declined. I am not a frivolous person. After firmly dismissing the fur lady, Snake Mother was initially surprised. Perhaps he doesn't fancy these juniors. Well, it's normal for a talented young man to have high standards. Meanwhile, inside the space, Rice was busily sniffing a vermilion fruit, muttering about its fragrance. Suddenly, Rice sensed the thread being pulled from Chen Luo, a thread that connected to someone immensely powerful. Rice recognized that someone was meddling with Chen Luo's fate, leading him towards a dangerous collision with these powerful individuals, which could put Chen Luo at risk. Rice mirthed devilishly. A little meddling from the great Rice, and this meddler will be embarrassed. I don't need to do much, just delay things a bit. Melee is the key to breaking this situation. The next morning, Snake Mother and Wanel found Chen Luo. Your spaceship is ready. You just need to bind your identity to it, and then you can use it as you wish. But just then Rice started clamoring in the space, demanding to be let out. Hearing this, Chen Luo furrowed his brows and said, I came here alone. Wouldn't your coming out expose the secret of the special ability space? However, Rice assured him, just let me out. Even if they know, it's fine. They are not bad people. Reluctantly, Chen Luo made an excuse to leave momentarily, and then released everyone from the special ability space. He quickly asked Rice if something serious was about to happen, only to receive a dismissive snore in response. It's too stuffy in there. We need to get out and breathe too. Resignedly, Kun Liu will lead the group to Snake Mother and hung out, giving them a brief introduction. This scared Snake Mother and Wan Yao quite a bit. No wonder you didn't let Spring, Summer, Autumn, and Winter serve you. You've been hiding these beauties. Where did all these beautiful women come from? Chen Luo didn't explain. Nan Snake Mother and Wan Yao now didn't pry further than Chen Luo said soundly, now that the spaceship is modified, let's head back to Blue Star. But as soon as he spoke, Rice started to argue. I don't want to go back now. You must take me to the happy planet for a few days. I don't care, we must go to the happy planet right now. Chen Liu was shocked and thought to himself, Rice wasn't like this before. Could it be a rebellious phase? Unable to argue with Rice, Chen Liu agreed. I'll build a space tunnel now. It'll only take a couple of hours to reach Happy Planet. However, Rice refused this proposal. I want to travel by spaceship. Do you have a problem with that? Rice monster, Chen Luo, you fool, just listen to me or you'll be in big trouble. Though Chen Luo didn't understand why Rice had changed so drastically, he agreed without hesitation, which scared Snake Mother and Wan Yao. They wondered what's the deal with this carrier girl daring to talk to Kun Liu like that. Then, as per Rice's demand, Jen Louisville boarded the spaceship and asked her, why don't you want to use the space tunnel? Is there a special reason? Rice chuckled and said, some things are better left unknown. Just listen to me, that's right. No sooner had the words been spoken than an unidentified object hurtled towards the spaceship at high speed, smashing through the window and striking Chen Luo squarely in the chest. This frightened everyone on board, who shouted in confusion about what was happening. When Snake Mother took a closer look at the object that hit Chen Luo, she broke out in a cold sweat and exclaimed, your luck is unbelievable. That's Rama metal. Chen Luo immediately asked, what's Ram metal? Is it valuable? Snake Mother explained, it's a very precious metal commonly used to forge armor. Right now it's priced at 50,000 purple crystals per pound. By my estimation, this piece weighs about 4,300 pounds, valuing it roughly at 180 million. It seems like wealth has literally fallen from the sky for you. Upon hearing this, Chen Luo instantly understood Rice's intention. This was why she insisted on traveling by spaceship. About 2 months later, the group finally arrived at Happy Planet. However, as soon as they landed, Rice was captivated by a newly released virtual reality game. She eagerly said, I want to play this. It says here that you can even help understand the law in the game. Hearing this, Snake Mother immediately said, understanding the law is all about cognition. If you grasp it in the game, you might be able to apply it in reality. Realizing the game could help understand the law, Chen Luo decided to buy 20 Supreme Gaming Pots. Not only could everyone relax and enjoy themselves, but they could also enhance their abilities. Why not then? The group moved the purchase gaming pods to the hotel. Estrin Luo sat in the gaming pod. His consciousness was instantly transported to a virtual world. Entering the game, he felt like he had arrived in a whole new realm and thought to himself, let's try avoid walking first and see how it compares to reality. Just as he was about to execute his move, a system prompt suddenly popped up. You have not learned this skill yet. Please purchase the skill book to learn it. Chen Luo had no choice but to open the recharge interface and bought all the space-related skill books. Then Chen Luo began his friend's adventure into the void in just 1 month. His progress and void walking has increased by 7%. But further advancement became extremely difficult. Thus, he turned to comprehend other laws, entering deeply into the spatial dimensions to perceive. Chen Luo sensed that there are a total of 8 types of spatial abilities, or 8 branches of law, each with its own capabilities and strengths. These included teleportation, transmission, and space manipulation for functionality, bias towards physical defense and bias towards magical defense for protection and dimension, annihilation and penetration for offense. Kun Liu had mastered a bit of each, but apart from teleportation and transmission, he was not proficient in the others. What he lacked now was offensive power, so he decided to start comprehending from the dimension aspect, which he was relatively good at. Meanwhile, others had logged out of the game. Thunder King remarked, "This game is really good, much better than meditating in boredom." However, Rice became the first player in the game to die 1,000 times, which infuriated her. She exclaimed, "Nothing that's the more money can solve. If there is, then you're just not spending enough." At this moment, Chen Luo encountered another problem in his comprehension. Grasping the offensive laws was indeed challenging for him. Just then a strange force suddenly invaded his spiritual world. He thought he would gain some insights, but it turned out to be Rice calling him to hurry out. Chen Luo thought something urgent had happened, so he quickly exited the game. To his surprise, Rice immediately asked him to lend her purple crystals, insisting on spending more in the game. Reluctantly, Chen Luo handed over Seth's purple crystal card to Rice and suggested, "Let's set off back to blue." At this moment, Mealy was engrossed in a book. Chen Luo hurriedly approached and asked, "What are you reading?" Upon hearing this, Melee replied, "You've come at the right time. Take a look at this. It's about something called Great God Certification. I think it will definitely help you." It's said that once the comprehension of a particular branch law reaches 100%, you will receive a Great God certification from the respective law. The transformation of brains is far greater than the rewards of advancing to divine level. Upon hearing these words, Chen Luo felt a jolt in his heart. So when I comprehend void walking to 100%, I can obtain this Great God certification, he pondered. With that thought, Chen Luo immediately declared, "Then, I will go and perceive the law now. I must obtain this Great God certification as soon as possible." Without delay, he returned to his room to start his comprehension, only to find that advancing and void walking became more difficult, not making any further progress. On the contrary, he inadvertently gained insights into spatial defense, which greatly annoyed him. Void walking is the best defense, he thought. However, just then one gallant snake mother suddenly rushed in, shouting, "Chen Luo, you must check outside the spaceship right away. Another law has arrived." Hearing this, Chen Liu was shocked and alarmed. Could it be that Thunder King has ascended to demigod level and became a deity right where he was? But before he could finish, a beam of light shot directly towards Jin Luo. Although for others law is a coveted thing, Chen Luo will look disdainful, murmuring to himself, "I thought it was the Great God certification coming, but what is this trivial thing? If it's going to come at me, least make it an attack law." Wang Yao, already terrified, fell to his knees with a thump, crying out, "Monster! My big brother is truly a monster." Snake Mother was also trembling uncontrollably, thinking to herself, "The first time I met him, he was at the sovereign level. It hasn't even been a year and he has already comprehended 3. Chen Luo, modified by the law and looking utterly despondent, muttered, "I don't want to admit that all my points have been invested in surviving." As Chen Luo had only understood 31% of spatial defense, the transformation by this law lasted only 10 minutes before it ended. Lying on the couch, Chen Luo let out a heavy sigh. At this moment, Wang Ya, puzzled, asked, "Isn't comprehending the 3rd law a huge cause for celebration? Why do you seem unhappy about it?" Upon hearing this, Chen Luo shook his head. "You know the laws I have comprehended: teleportation, transference, in the defense one just now, not a single attack law among them. While it's true that I now have 3 laws, it's difficult to even think of killing a divine level with 1 law. I might just be the laziest 3-law person there is." At these words swung out immediately collapsed to the ground, while Snake Mother shouted, "Are those even human words? I wish to become the weakest 3 law divine level 2. But the last don't heed my call. You're really showing off here and I give you full marks for it." 2 months later, Chen Liu and his group finally returned to Blue Star. This time, Chen Liu will plan to lay low for a few decades before venturing out again once he achieved Godho in the time domain. He then asked Snake Mother how to purify the pollution. Upon hearing this, Snake Mother reassured him, "Don't worry. Although my method isn't exactly purification, it has a similar effect. Let's get started now." She then transformed into a snow-white serpent and opened her massive mouth, unleashing a powerful suction force that began to draw on the fragmented dark laws, which were absorbed into her mouth like dust. A look of pain appeared on Snake Mother's face, alarming Qin Luo, who quickly asked Wang Yao, "What's happening to Snake Mother? Is she in danger?" Wang Yao replied with a bitter smile and a shake of his head, "It won't threaten Snake Mother's life, but dark laws are not something trifling. As a result, Snake Mother won't be able to comprehend any new loss for the next few 100 years until she fully digests this dark curse. I didn't expect Snake." Hearing this, Qin Luo heaved alongside, "I owe you one for this. First you helped me save my home planet, and now you've devoured the dark loss for me. Your friendship is something I deeply value." Meanwhile, elsewhere, Time Trace received thrilling news. The third prince of the Woolsey Empire had announced a purchase offering 2 billion purple crystals for a time system crystal. Additionally, the seller would be granted a hereditary earldom in the Empire along with a 20,000-year lifespan grass as a reward. Time Trace was overjoyed knowing there had been a time system presence on Blue Star, although it hadn't been found in the last search. He was certain Qin Luo knew about it. "All I need to do is inform the third prince. He will naturally come looking for it. When that happens, how will you deal with it? I might not be able to handle you, but the third prince with 6 loss is not someone you can contend with. Is this the power of karma? Lord Violet is awesome." With that in mind, Time Trace quickly set up a tunnel to the Volsky Empire and informed the prince of the time system crystal. The third prince, his eyes lit up upon hearing this. "Are you saying this Qin Luo knows of the time system crystal?" Time Trace affirmed, "Absolutely. There's a native on Blue Star who has mastered time stop, and that's one of his subordinates." Upon hearing this, the third prince declared, "If the information you provide leads me to the time system crystal, you will certainly be rewarded." After Time Trace left, the third prince muttered to himself, "Had Time Trace not said it himself, I would hardly believe someone could acquire to loss and 5 years. You better be sensible. I'm curious to see just how far you'll go and whether you're truly more talented than I am." Following the information provided by Time Trace, the third prince issued an order: "If Shunlu is seen within any planet governed by the Veloci Empire, he is to be brought to me." Additionally, sent to divine level individuals from the Empire to Blue Star to see if they can find him. Meanwhile, Snake Mother finally finished clearing all the pollution for Chen Luo. She hoped silently, "I hope this young man remembers my kindness and protects my offspring after my life ends." Then she gave us Chen Luo of the World Tree Seat, along with cultivation methods and several notes written on paper. "Now that the matter is resolved, I must return to oversee my children's training. We shall meet again," Snake Mother solemnly stated. Wang Yao also expressed his need to leave. "I have to go back and find a match for my daughter. I can't stay with you, brother. By the way, have you considered my daughter?" Chen Liu immediately declined to on the house offer and expressed his gratitude, emphasizing that since they all had important matters to attend to, he wouldn't hold them back. At that moment, Rice came over and whispered, "Chen Luo, come with me." She then stressed, "We need to leave." Surprised, Chen Luo asked, "Why leave? I was planning to go into seclusion here on Blue Star." Rice gravely informed him, "Someone is looking for you. You can't hide anymore." At this, Chen Luo's face darkened. "Who was looking for me? Is it Time Trace again?" Rice shook her head. "All I know is that it's a very powerful divine level individual and he already knows the coordinates of Blue Star. We can't stay here no longer. I sense someone powerful orchestrating this intent on bringing you harm. Now you have to choose: either we leave now and find somewhere else to lay low and grow, or we face the situation head on. While the latter has risks, it also has significant benefits. I can hide Blue Star from fate for about 100 years, but after that I won't be able to use this method again immediately. Blue Star will still be very dangerous then. Therefore you need to become stronger within these 100 years to protect your home." Upon hearing this, Chen Luo immediately responded, "And why don't you just hide the blue star now? We can stay hidden here without going anywhere." However, Rice replied, "We could only leave temporarily. With my current ability, I can't hide a planet that contains a divine level entity. My suggestion is to enter the fray. This will be greatly beneficial to you. I used to send some advantages, but I have suddenly realized it's getting harder to censor fate." Hearing this, Chen Luo bladder shivered, nearly terrifying him. "Does that mean you won't be able to warn me in the future?" Rice spoke indifferently, "I just can't sense it clearly. I can still detect if you're in danger." Relieved, Chen Luo sighed. "That's good. Then I'll follow your advice and choose to enter the fray." Watching Chen Luo's retreating figure, Rice mused to herself, "Fate is constantly changing. I didn't expect him to comprehend the third loss so quickly. Surpassing fate, he's become someone I can't grasp. Fortunately, things are progressing in a better direction." Chen Luo couldn't understand why people kept troubling him at Blue Star repeatedly. First, it was Time Trace. Now another mastermind appeared. He wondered if the person behind Time Trace, as Wang Yao mentioned before, was the same as this new adversary. Pondering, he asked Snake Mother and Wang Yao who was. Hearing this, Snake Mother and Wang Yao exchanged a look and then gravely said, "We indeed know the answer to this question, but we really can't reveal it. If we do, we'll be in big trouble. You don't need to look for this person's identity. She isn't intentionally causing you trouble." After striking Ankh, Wang Yao added it, "I don't mean to underestimate you, brother, but even if you have comprehended all the spatial laws, it's best not to seek her out. It's better to pretend you don't know." Just then the demon tree suddenly came running over, shouting loudly, "Chen Luo, you heartless man! How long has it been since you fed me?" And as soon as the words left its mouth, the demon tree sensed the presence of the world tree. The bloodline suppression immediately filled it with overwhelming fear. Hearing this, Chen Luo retorted sharply, "How am I heartless? Haven't I fed you enough corpses?" Upon hearing this, Wang Yao also quickly declared his loyalty, shouting, "Who the hell are you cursing? Try saying that again." The demon tree, feeling slighted, pointed at the seat of the world tree on the ground and cursed it. "What is this? If not heartlessness, you found a new love and tossed me aside your old love, right? Shan Liu will remain unfazed. We were in a partnership now, but it's over. Get lost." This response infuriated the demon tree, who retorted, "Fine, you heartless wretch, burning bridges after crossing. Is it I'll fight you?" And with that it launched its ultimate move, Giant Vine Entanglement. But as the vines were about to bind him, Chen Luo swung his hand, and a dimensional blade instantly split the demon tree into. He monitored to himself, "Good riddance to this troublemaker. Then attacks humans when I'm not around. Blue Star." Previously, Chen Luo was forced to leave due to the threat from Time Trace taking all his members with him away from their homeland. But this time without such dangers. He didn't take everyone with him. After bidding farewell, he once again visited the trading planet he had been to before. The previously purchased swine beasts and some delicious creatures were mutated upon being transported to Blue Star, so he wants to buy another batch to send back to Sudoju and the others. As he strolled the streets, he noticed a video playing on a screen atop a shop. The Empire was offering 2 billion purple crystals for a time crystal, promising the title of hereditary rural and longevity grass to the seller. Shocked, Chen Luo exclaimed, "Time crystals are worth that much? 2 billion? I've never seen so much money in my life." Just then sent, I contacted him. Surprised, Chen Luo quickly asked, "How did you know I was here?" Upon hearing this sent, I smiled slightly and said, "Little brother, wait right there for us. Richer, and I will be there soon. We've got something good for you." Shortly after the two arrived in front of Chen Liu, Richard spoke with a smile, "Little brother, the third princess summoned you. I'll give you the coordinates. You can teleport over there." Chen Luo, curious, immediately asked, "Who is this third prince and what does he want with me?" Sent. I reply, "We've just received the order ourselves and don't know the specifics. It should be something good. Perhaps the third prince is interested in your teleportation abilities. Otherwise, he wouldn't have." Upon hearing this, Chen Luo fell into deep thought. Rice mentioned a powerful divine level entity looking for me. It's very likely this third prince. He quickly inquired about the third prince's background from the two. They were quite forthcoming and shared all they knew. The third prince is a divine level entity with 6 laws of the fire series, and as the most talented member of the Volsci Empire's royal family, he is very likely the next ruler. Hearing this, Chen Luo solidly said, "Since you both put it this way, I'll meet this third prince." He then teleported to the planet where the third prince was located using the coordinates provided by Richard. Upon arrival, a servant immediately approached him courteously and said, "You must be Chen Lu. The third prince has been waiting for you for a long time." Chen Luo was then ushered into the grand hall, where the third prince wasted no time and instructing his servants to brew a cup of enlightenment tea for Chen Luo. This tea greatly aids in comprehending loss. I usually don't partake in it myself, but for brother Chen's visit, of course, I must offer my best hospitality. Actually, I've invited you here because I need a favor. I've heard you possess a time crystal and I wonder if you might part with it. Chen Luo was initially taken aback, thinking to himself that this must be about John Trishula, and how the Buddha family likely relayed this information to the prince. He knew he couldn't deny it outright and thought to make an excuse. I indeed have a time crystal, but I've already implanted it in my brain. It's probably irremovable now. The third prince smiled. No matter if brother Chen is willing to part with it, what has been put in can also be taken out. Chen Luo's expression darkened at the thought. He really wants to open up my skull. He replied with a forced laugh, "You really have a sense of humor. Brain surgery is far too dangerous." The third prince, maintaining a friendly demeanor, assured, "No worries, I have professionals in the light series. Your life won't be in danger. Just bear with it a little." Chen Lu waved his hand dismissively. "I'm really paying averse, and I'd like to use the time crystal myself. Perhaps your highness." The third prince's smile vanished at Chen Luo's response and he sized him up, as if evaluating prey, then said coldly, "Your answer makes things difficult for me." Already frustrated from being forced to leap Blue Star, Chen Luo was incensed by this and flipped the table in anger. "If your highness finds it difficult, then don't bother with it." The third prince looked at Chen Luo in disbelief. "If you were cooperative, I would have ensured your safety and been curious to see how far you could grow up. But now you've lost that chance. I've never seen anyone as foolish as you." Chen Luo smirked dismissively at the third prince. "Well, now you have." However, as soon as he finished speaking, the third prince, his body suddenly erupted with 6 different colored laws swirling furiously around him. To his surprise, Chen Luo didn't attempt to flee immediately after the confrontation. Seeing this, the third prince wasted no time and teleported right in front of Chen Luo, declaring, "It's been a long time since someone dared to be so presumptuous in front of me. I'll take that time crystal of yours." Chen Luo scoffed, "I may not be able to defeat you, but I can make you go away." Spatial exile. Suddenly, the third prince found himself whisked away into outer space, confused and incredulous. How is this possible? Spatial movement used on others. Without pondering too much, the third prince hurried back to his planet at high speed. Meanwhile, Kun Liu began his spree of looting, stuffing anything valuable into his spatial ability domain. He soon set his sights on the third princess to maidservants. With a mischievous smile, he skillfully stuffed one maid into his snake skin bag. As the other maid attempted to flee, he grabbed her like a chicken and stuffed her into the bag as well. Just as he was doing this, the third prince managed to rush back to his planet, expressing with a shocked face, "I truly underestimated you." But before he could finish his sentence, Chen Luo used spatial exile again, sending him 1,000s of miles away. Seeing so many treasures in the third prince's possession, Qinghua was tempted by a wicked idea. The highest form of zero-cost shopping is to take whatever I see. Instead of picking each treasure individually, he used his spatial abilities to lift the entire palace from its foundations. As the third prince hurried back again, he was visibly frightened and threatened, "Stop right now or I swear I'll kill you." Chen Luo unfazed made a grotesque face and mockingly repeated the third prince's words, "Your words make it very difficult for me." As soon as he finished speaking, the third prince vanished again, reappearing amidst the vast expanse of the universe. Utterly frustrated by Chen Luo's antics, he thought to himself in disbelief, "I am a wielder of 6th laws. Even if he can exile me to space, how can he do it so many times?" I refuse to believe he can keep doing this indefinitely. With that, he returned to his planet, only to find that by the time he got back Chen Luo, when even his palace had vanished. The third prince was so infuriated that he stewed blood. His attempt to capture Chen Luo had backfired horribly. Meanwhile, Chen Luo was already on another planet, whistling nonchalantly, thinking to himself, "So much for the 6th loss. He still ended up being handled by me, but now I will likely become a wanted criminal. But who can do anything to me?" As expected, it wasn't long before the Valsi Empire issued a warrant for Chen Luo's arrest. Shortly after arriving on a new planet, here in an emergency broadcast blaring overhead, announcing a heinous crime against the third prince Lesane's palace, the broadcast declared the palace of His Highness Th. The villainy and shamelessness of these acts are chilling. The Imperial Guard has issued a Class S arrest warrant for the criminal. The third prince is both shocked and outraged by these events. A bounty of 2 billion purple crystals is now offered for the capture of Chen Luo. In that moment, every large screen on the planet lit up with Chen Luo's photo, marking him as a wanted man across the empire. Upon hearing the words, Chen Luo sneer, muttering to himself, "Is that what you call stealing? How I'm cool. I was obviously robbing, and right before your eyes at bat, and those 2 maidservants, I clearly didn't kill them." Chen Luo strutted down the street, immediately causing a commotion. People began to discuss fervently, "Isn't the BS class fugitive? Quick, catch him!" Another onlooker hastily intervened. "Are you out of your mind? Didn't you hear the announcement just now? This guy is at law divine level." As Chen Luo's walked, he felt a stomach rumble, so he decided to find a place to eat first. Once his powers were restored, he planned to settle the score with Time Trace. He had no more concerns now. Well, now I told him that if he wanted to know who was behind his troubles, he had to ask Time Trace. Then he arrived at a fried food shop and ordered several set meals. The shop owner's bladder shuddered with fear upon seeing the notorious evildoers. Stammering, "I dare not sell you anything. You're a bad person. Doing business with you would get me shut down." At this, Chen Luo face darkened. "What if I don't pay? That wouldn't count as doing business with you then, would it? Hurry up. Dare you not serve me? Believe it or not, I'll kill you right now." Terrified, the shopkeeper hastily prepared 2 dishes and a soup. After eating his soup, Chen Luo will prepare to leave to confront Time Trace. He dropped 5 purple crystals and departed from the planet. A shopkeeper was astonished. "I've worked hard for 10 years and couldn't earn 1 purple crystal. He isn't as brutally evil as they make him out to be in the news." Subsequently, Chen Luo began constructing a space tunnel. Meanwhile, elsewhere before La Black Robe arrived on the third prince's planet. Seeing this, the third prince smiled and said, "Black Spirit, you finally arrived. How has your recovery been?" Upon hearing this, Black Spirit immediately responded, "As soon as I received your message, rushed over. Thanks to your help, third prince, I recovered in half a month. The disaster still haunts me. I nearly died. If it weren't for the signal I sent out for your help, I wouldn't have survived." Meanwhile, Chen Luo had already arrived at Time Trace's planet. In a fit of rage, he yelled, "Time Trace, you boss, come out. Were you very arrogant before?" The butler of Time Trace stepped out of the castle and retorted, "Who is this blind fool barking here? Do you wish to die?" As the butler looked up at Chen Luo in teen blue in the sky, her bladder nearly gave out in fear, realizing, "Isn't that the S-class fugitive? What's he doing here?" She quickly suggested, "Lord Time Trace has stepped out. If you have business, you may enter and wait for his return." Without any courtesy and little reply, "And I shall do as suggested today. I'll collect some interest first." Saying so, he used his void walking ability to enter Time Trace's home, only to find nothing of value. Frustrated, he thought perhaps all the valuables were carried away by Time Trace. Annoyed, Cheng Liu decided to wreak havoc. "If that's the case, don't blame me for the destruction." At that moment, Time Trace was transporting materials for the reconstruction of Third Prince's palace. Suddenly his communicator rang, and he saw that Chen Luo was vandalizing his castle. Though Time Trace wished to kill John Luo, he was helpless and furiously powerless. Yet, he thought this might not be entirely bad. "Perhaps I can profit from this." Without hesitation, Time Trace contacted the third prince. "The person you're after, I found him. He's currently dismantling my home." This news invigorated the third prince. "What did I say? That guy loves to cause destruction when people are away. See? There's another victim." Upon hearing this, Black Spirit became furiously enraged. "Has this kid turned the world upside down, daring to do such a thing to you? I'll go and take him down." The third prince gestured to hold off. "Not yet. Wait until we have gathered enough forces, then we'll hit him hard." However, Black Spirit was insistent. "This kid is too arrogant. I can't tolerate it. We must teach him a lesson. Although he's adept at void walking, he might not be able to escape my shadow assault." Upon hearing this, the third prince pondered for a moment, thinking, if Black Spirit's surprise attack succeeds under the erosion of the curse launch, Chen Luo injuries will be difficult to heal. Once I gather more forces, killing Chen Luo will be almost certain. Then he spoke decisively, "And follow your plan. Proceed with caution." With the third prince's consent, Black Spirit immediately headed towards Time Trace's planet, shouting, "Wait for the good news." Meanwhile, after demolishing Time Trace's home, Chen Luo arrived at a desolate planet and released 2 maid servants from his snakeskin bag, named Non Non and Mang Mang. Mang Mang angrily said, "Are you courting death? We belong to the third prince. You dare to outduct us? Chen Luo chuckled. Are you silly? I just ransacked that guy's home right in front of him. Do you think I fear him? Before the two could fully grasp the situation, Chen Liu played a recording. The villain cruelly killed the third princess to maidservants. He scoffed. Did you hear that the third prince declared you dead? You understand the implication, right? Realizing the gravity of the situation, they quickly caught on. If the third prince has declared his dead, reappearing would contradict his statement. Seeing their realization, Chen Luo will quickly propose, how about you follow me from now on? I'll give you a day to consider. First help me identify what these items are. He then handed them a box to examine. Mang quickly identified in his blood fusion grass, a priceless treasure known to assist in integrating transplanted crystals. Chen Luo then discovered another treasure, enlightenment tea. They say it helps in comprehending loss. I didn't get to try last time, as the table was overturned. To test its true effects, Chen Luo had them brew a pot. Mang skillfully prepared the tea. After sipping it, Shan Liu felt as if his mind opened, his thoughts clear. This indeed helps in understanding loss, allowing one to comprehend laws in a more variable state. Seizing this clarity, Chen Luo began to delve into another spatial defensive law. To his utter surprise, the fourth law actually came following that. A law flew straight towards him. Beginning to remodel his body, this frightened Non and Mang considerably. When Time Trace reported the third prince, didn't he say that he had comprehended to loss within a year? How come there are already 4? The two are immediately overwhelmed with unparalleled shock. This person's talent is too demonic, they murmur to each other. Then they began to monitor. Why don't we just follow him? Serving anyone as serving as long as we can live. Well, about 15 minutes later, the low remodeling was completed. Seeing this, Non and Mang hurriedly stepped forward to congratulate. Congratulations, master, on comprehending the fourth law. Upon hearing this, Chen Luo smiled calmly. Follow me, and I guarantee you'll have meat to eat in the future. This enlightenment tea is indeed precious. It really helps with comprehending loss. Do you know where this enlightenment tea comes from? Mang immediately responded, I heard it was planted by some natural system, big shot, harvested from a divine tree. It's very rare in yield, then sought after by many. Chen Luo's eyes lit up upon hearing this. Who has the ability to plant such a divine tree? Mang shook her head. At this, I really don't know that this kind of tea leaves you got from third prince, his 100-year share. He really can't bear to drink it. Upon hearing this, Chen Luo was momentarily stunned. Let me find that tree. How much tea I pick, or whether I uproot the entire tree, will all depend on my mood, he said sternly. It's okay not to now, I'll just go and inquire about it. Meanwhile, inside the special ability space, Meili, who was absorbing crystals, suddenly underwent a miraculous transformation, advancing from sovereign level to demigod level. Seeing this, Rice's eyes lit up. She hurriedly presented the vermilion fruit to Meili, saying, Meili, you should eat this quickly. It's very beneficial for you. Meili nodded and began to nibble on the vermilion fruit. At this moment, Chen Luo felt the fluctuations from the special ability space, and immediately opened it to enter. This action greatly frightened Non and Mang. Can people enter the space too? Inside, Chen Luo looked at me with Zhou, although he was somewhat disappointed that she didn't ascend directly to godhood upon advancing to demigod level. Unlike him, he thought, considering Meili revived over 1,000 people and only spent a dozen years of her life, isn't that a minimal expenditure? Shouldn't that be enough to become a god directly? Then Rice said, in a deep voice, is there a possibility that Meili has a special attribute? Meili doesn't know any attacks, only healing types, and her effects are much better than others. Hearing this, Meili paused for a moment, then suddenly shouted, could it be that my sister possesses the law of life? I've read about it in his man's books. Upon hearing this, Chen Luo quickly picked up the book and started to browse through it. Soon he found the relevant record above the light. There is an even pure law, the law of life. It is rumored to possess unparalleled healing abilities, capable of reviving someone even if only a drop of blood remains. Can only be a variant of a life series. Since Rice mentioned it, Meili must indeed be of a life series. A smile spread across Chen Luo's face. What a streak of good fortune once Meili advances to divine level. Even if I want to die, it will be difficult. However, at that moment, Rice suddenly spoke seriously. Chen Luo, have you begun to grasp the nuances of stopping time? I sense that you will soon master this skill. Chen Luo nodded in acknowledgement. Rice continued, you mustn't expose this ability for now. In about a month, a very important item will appear, crucial for Meili and indirectly a great help to you. Revealing your time-stopping ability now will make it difficult for you to obtain this item later. Shan Liu will quickly inquire what exactly is this item. Rice off for a moment. It's an object similar to the vermilion fruit, but its effects are far superior. Shan Liu somewhat understood, does melee need to gain a significant amount of life force to advance the divine level? If Rice so, and there must be a reason. He then exited the special ability space and instructed Non and Mang to go inside as well. My special ability space is different from others. There's no need to worrying about life safety. It has all the necessities. But just as he finished speaking, Chen Luo sensed the murderess or a nearby. Looking up, he saw two figures rapidly approaching him. They soon surrounded him, one on each side, and, after closely examining Chen Luo, an excited smile appeared on their faces. Then Big Baldy burst into laughter and said, "Golden Claw brother, we are going to strike it rich this time. This guy is definitely at S-class fugitive mill mistake." Then Golden Claw fiercely shouted at you, "Chen Luo, you're Chen Luo, aren't you? 2 billion purple CR. As he spoke, the two shattered the space around Chen Luo, boasting he's just a space manipulator now. At the space is shattered, let's see where you can escape. Chen Luo, somewhat exasperated, retorted, "Don't say I didn't give you a chance. Disappear from my sight right now and I'll let you go, as if you were just a fart. Otherwise, I'll rob your homes next." The two burst into laughter at this threat, mocking him. "You know where our homes are. Such words might scare children. Besides, let's see if you can survive from our hands first." Chen Luo face darkened with anger. "Don't want the face I'm giving you." Then with a snap of his fingers, he made the two buffoons vanish from his sight, remarking, "I may not beat you, but I can still make you bugger off." He then smiled and said, "I remember there's a divine level directory amongst the items I confiscated from Third Prince. Go find the information of those two idiots." Mang quickly started browsing the directory, and Non suggested, "How about I change your appearance, master? It might avoid unnecessary." And just half an hour, Non transformed Chen Luo into a young elf. Meanwhile, Mang found detailed information about the two and handed it over, cautioning, "Even with the disguise, you shouldn't casually enter planets guarded by divine level beings. They can detect each divine level's law, and you are the only one known to possess the void walking law. You'll definitely be noticed." Shan Luo smiled slightly. "Don't worry, I have my own clever plan. The one had posters I'm gonna define level with to loss, right? I'll just show the other to loss for them to detect." With this, he headed straight to the planet where Master Norton was located, only to find that there was no one to receive him, and he needed to register himself. Chen Lulu was utterly surprised to find over 30 divine level powerhouses in the reception area. This business must be booming. Norton must have some procreation on display. "Once I figure it out, I'll teach him the meaning of free shopping," he mused. Just then a long-haired man approached Chen Luo. "Brother, you seem unfamiliar. I don't recall ever seeing you around here." Shan Liu responded with a grin. "Funny. I've never seen you either. You wouldn't happen to be Chen Luo in disguise trying to sneak in, would you?" This remark immediately drew the attention of everyone in the reception area to the long-haired man, scaring him considerably. He quickly shouted, "One can eat anything, but words should not be spoken carelessly. It can kill you. No, are you trying to get me killed?" Chen Luo shook his head. "This kid's too faint-hearted." After the joke, the long-haired man respectfully said, "Brother, what I meant was that you see new hair, possibly a newly ascended divine level. Let's get to know each other." Chen Luo smiled slyly. "Indeed. I've ascended not long ago, just over a year." The long-haired man probably responded, "I've been a god for over 200 years. My name is Kaira Juo VI and my family." Chen Luo asked, "My name is Wan Ling. How long have you been queuing here? How long would it take to get the armor now?" Kirao Juo replied with a bitter smile, "I arrived quite early. It should take me about 50 or 60 years to get my term." "Brother One, you've arrived late. At this rate, it's probably 100 years wait from now." Upon hearing about the long wait, Chen Liu will quickly ask, "Can I just buy a ready-made armored money? It's not an issue, I just want to skip the line." Kirao Ju's eyes lit up and eagerly said, "Wan Ling, do you have any lucrative ideas? Take your brother along." Chen Luo didn't mince words. "The path I'm on is a bit wild, not really suitable for you. Just tell me if it's possible to buy ready-made armor with money." Kirao Ju would reply, "Money doesn't really work here. Have you heard of the space manipulating powerhouse Time Trace? I've seen him come here. He offered 3 times the usual price but still had to wait 10 years. Brother One, even if you have more money, could you outspend Time Trace?" Chen Luo's spirits plummeted as this was not what he expected. "I thought there would be at least a dozen sets and stock. Turns out everything is made to order. How am I supposed to get anything for free?" Thinking over his options, Chen Luo contemplated kidnapping Master Norton, then asked Kirao Juao. Upon hearing it was 3 He realized that kidnapping might be more challenging than anticipated. Maybe I should bring Rama metal to Master Nort. If I have the material, maybe it won't take long to craft the armor. Kirajuo then slapped his forehead and said, "Right, brother one, if you're looking to buy armor at a high price, there might be a chance. A few days ago, the Volsky Empire announced that their millennial auction is coming up. All sorts of treasures will be available there if you're looking to buy ready." Upon hearing about the grand auction, Chin Luo's mind raced with wicked thoughts. Such a grand auction will surely have lots of good stuff. If I could sweep it all up, just the thought is delightful. Could this be the opportunity Rice mentioned? But before Chin Luo could fully relish his fantasy, Kirajuo doused his excitement, reminding him, "I forgot to tell you, the Vols Empire is very far from here. It would take at least 5 months to get there by flight, unless you can get Time Trace to create a space tunnel for you." Chen Luo smirked, dismissing the concern. Time Trace, his understanding of spatial teleportation probably isn't as advanced as mine. I've decided I'm going to that auction. If I can get my hands on a set of armor, I'll be unstoppable. His gaze then shifted to Norton's work area, where Norton was visibly irritated while crafting equipment. A female dwarf approached him saying, "Elder, you have a call from Carolyn. You really should take it." At Carolyn's mention, Norton's eyes flashed with anger, and he shouted, "Stop nagging. I haven't had a good night's sleep in over 100 years making this armor, and you're still rushing me. I quit. Find someone else to bother." However, when Carolyn spoke from the communicator, her voice seemed to carry a compelling charm. "I'm not contacting you to rush you, just to check on the progress." Norton replied defensively, "Don't think I don't know you're trying to hypnotize me again. Only the helmet is left to finish. You want to use your old tricks to make me work faster." High in a fit of rage, he overturned his work table. "You really think I'm that easygoing? I'm not crafting it anymore. I'd like to see what you can do about it." He then grabbed a bottle of strong liquor, gulping it down before staggering out of the workshop. Seeing Norton's condition, an elderly man with a white beard hurriedly approached him, attempting to flatter. "Master Norton, I've long admired you. You really resemble my father." Norton, reeking of alcohol, cursed, "All of you get lost. I'm not taking any orders for the next 1,000 years. Go wherever you like, just don't bother me here." Upon hearing this, the white-bearded old man immediately turned sour and said, "Master Nort, I have been waiting for 30 years, it's almost my turn now. You say you quit just like that? Isn't that a bit inappropriate?" Norton slammed a wine bottle on the ground. "And word, you have a problem with me quitting? Do you want to be wanted? Someone report his information to the Empire, put him on the blacklist so he can never find work again." Norton then turned and left. "Only the incompetent wait here, a bunch of trash, neither rich nor strong." Chin Luo was secretly astonished at this scene. It seems the arrogance and hot temper of the dwarf race really do run in their blood. Seeing Norton about to leave, Chin Luo hurriedly came forward with a flattering smile. "Man, Mr. Norton, please wait. I have a piece of raw metal here. Might you consider doing me a favor?" However, Master Norton paid no heed. Seeing this, Shan Liu didn't dilly-dally and quickly took out a bottle of fine wine he had snatched from the third prince. "This is specially offered to you. Don't you want to have a taste?" Hearing there was fine wine, Norton immediately stopped in his tracks. "Oh, good wine can a nobody like you have." But when he saw the wine handed over, his eyes lit up. No way could this be Blue Flower Drunk. Norton grabbed the bottle of Blue Flower Drunk, can downed it in one gulp. Chen Luo, without any hesitation, quickly handed over another bottle. Norton lecherously smiled. "Not bad, kid. You've got taste. Come in and have a few drinks with me then." Hearing this, Chen Luo was overjoyed, hurriedly asked again if Norton could help craft some armor for him. At this, Norton's face changed. "Are you deaf, or has your brain been kicked by a donkey? Didn't you hear me say I won't work for 1,000 years? Can't you understand human speech?" Norton kept pointing at you and Lula's nose and cursing. "Are you brain damaged, trying to get me drunk to trick me into working for you? You underestimate my capacity for drink." But the next moment, the old man sleazy inquired if there was any more Blue Flower Drunk, asking if he could have another bottle. His face-changing skill was truly unparalleled. Upon hearing this, Chin Lu immediately said, "If you agree to craft the armor for me, not only will there be enough wine, but I also have 30 million purple crystals as a token of my gratitude for your hard work." As he spoke, Chen Luo handed over to more bottles of Blue Flower Drunk. Taking the bottles, Norton made her 30 million purple crystals. "And you think you can get me to work when I'm not in the mood? Read my lips, get lost." At this, Chen Luo's face turned completely dark. "Ungrateful, aren't you? When have I ever been treated with such disdain?" See Norton stagger forward. Chen Luo quickly went up to support him. Please don't fall, let me help you rest. Norton with a flushed face chuckled stupidly. Even after I curse you don't leave, you really are thick-skinned. Hearing this, Chen Luo immediately feigned concern. Master, please calm down. It was all my fault for being inconsiderate and mentioning work when you were not in the mood. As he spoke, Chen Luo's hand moved towards Norton's spatial ring. Under the influence of alcohol, Norton's eyelids were already fighting a losing battle. In a swift motion, Chen Luo gently pulled off Norton's spatial ring. Nort, drunk and unresponsive, didn't realize what had happened. Immediately seeing his chance, Chen Luo quickly said, "You should rest now, I won't disturb you any longer." Then two people replaced him in supporting Norton and escorted him to his room. But just then Norton almost instinctively felt for a spatial ring and found it missing. The shock sobered him up instantly. The armor of Carolyn and all his belongings were in that ring. Norton and roared, "It was that lad. Everyone heed my command, seal the city." He rushed to the reception area and shouted, "Where's the lad who helped me earlier? Did anyone see him? That damned thief stole my spatial ring." As soon as these words were spoken, everyone naturally looked towards Kyu and they began to say that lad is closest to him. Hearing this, Kyu's bladder nearly gave out in fear and he quickly clarified, "I'm not close to him. I only know his name is Wan Ling." He thought to himself, no wonder that lad said his way of making money was wild, daring to even steal from Master Nort. Meanwhile, Chen Liu had already fled to the Happy Planet, ordering a table full of delicious food at a cloud restaurant to celebrate. Although he found the armor he had been longing for, a Norton's ring, it was unfortunately pink, which disappointed in a grown man wearing pink armor was too embarrassing. He resolved to find a way to change its color. Simultaneously, Albert, a commander of the Volchi Empire, also arrived on Happy Planet just as he landed. Alarm sounded. A divine-level individual with an identified status had entered Happy Planet, and no data was detected on him. Hearing the alarm, Albert's face showed a hint of amusement. Could it be that audacious Chen Luo? I should check it out. Soon Albert approached Chen Luo when said with a smile, "Excuse me, due to a recent fugitive issue, to avoid any misunderstandings, could you please show your law for inspection?" Annoyed, Chen Luo responded, "Can't you see I'm eating? Can it wait until I'm finished?" Albert grinned, "Sir, I have reason to suspect your identity. Please cooperate with my inspection." With no expression, Chen Luo stood up and said, "You're quite bothersome." Then giving Albert a look. In the next second, under everyone's gaze, Albert disappeared on the spot. This terrified the onlookers, who began to shout, "This guy must be the one, that criminal, no doubt about it." No sooner had the words left his mouth, Chen Luo waved his hand grandly, instantly transporting everyone in the restaurant 1,000s of miles away. Realizing the situation had escalated to this point, and that returning to this restaurant for a meal would be impossible, Chen Luo decided to take the entire cloud restaurant with him. When Albert made his way back to Happy Planet, he found the entire building had vanished, which greatly alarmed him. He quickly contacted the third prince using his communicator. After learning about the situation on Happy Planet, the third prince was certain that this was undoubtedly Chen Luo's doing, having experienced the similar theft himself. He immediately contacted Black Spirit, instructing him to use a teleportation array to quickly travel near Happy Planet and assassinate Chen Luo, with all expenses covered by the third prince. Black Spirit chuckled, "Just wait for my good news. As soon as I find him, that lot is as good as dead." To ensure nothing went wrong, the third prince also contacted a space element powerhouse, respectfully saying, "Uncle Yan Trian, it's been a long time since we last spoke, just wanted to say hello. Are you free right now?" Yan Trian responded immediately, "Cut the crap, Pan, tell me what you want. I'm in the middle of comprehending law." Hearing this, the third prince quickly responded with a smile, "Haven't you mastered the 8th law of space void walking yet?" Yan Trian sighed, "I've mastered the other 7 laws of the space element, but I still can't grasp void walking. By the way, do you still have any enlightenment tea left? Give some to your uncle." When enlightenment tea was mentioned, and the third prince knelt down immediately and said with a grin, "Although I don't have any enlightenment tea, I can help you master a void walking law." At this, Yan Trian eagerly asked how. The third prince explained, "A space element genius has recently emerged. He became a deity just over a year ago and has already mastered the void walking law and spatial teleportation law. This lad also possesses a time element crystal. If we join forces to kill him, the time element will be mine and the space element will be yours. How about it?" Upon hearing this, Yan Trian immediately agreed to the deal. "I'll also attend the auction you're hosting. I'll come to you then. If you are completely sure about Chen Luo's location, you can call me in advance." The third prince quickly expressed his agreement, then it's happily decided. At that moment Yun Trian spoke gravely. I heard the Dream Men Empire found a mysterious cave emitting the aura of destruction law. Is this true or not? The third prince replied with a bitter smile. Indeed, it's true. Black Spirit was actually the first to discover it. He rashly went in wearing his armor and came out barely alive. After just a few seconds his armor was destroyed. And now the place is guarded by the Dream Men Empire. There's nothing After ending the communication, Yun Trian pondered for a moment. That lad is truly a genius. His talent is unprecedented. It's a pity really. I genuinely want to master void walking, or else I'd really like to keep in to strengthen our space element faction. At the same time, elsewhere, Kun Liu brought the Cloud restaurant to a deserted planet. This frightened the restaurant staff considerably. Chen Luo gave a slight smile and reassured them, don't worry, I'm not a bad person. As long as you work honestly for me, I'll increase your salary tenfold. Saying this, he took out a card reader and showed the balance in the account, which brought tears of excitement to the corners of the mouths of the onlookers. Then Chen Luo approached the proprietress and asked, what's your name? The lady known as Bemenchi immediately responded, I'm Bemenchi, the daughter of one of the restaurant owners who was not favored. Unusually in charge of managing the restaurant and making various beverages and alcoholic drinks. Upon hearing this, Chen Luo quickly inquired if she could make a drink called Hilboda. Bemenchi timidly nodded in affirmation. Chen Luo then asked, do you know who grows enlightenment tea? Bemenchi informed him. Yes, I know. It's grown by a nature expert named Eugene. This excited Shan Lu immensely, and eagerly exclaimed then, do you know where he lives? Bemenchi almost panicked, thinking to herself, why is he so excited? He's not planning to rob him, is he? She shook her head and said, I don't know, but my father certainly does. How about you let me go and I'll ask him for you? Kun Liu, not being foolish, urged her to call her father right away. However, after trying numerous calls with no answer, it became apparent that her father really didn't favor her. But just then Rice suddenly reminded Chen Luo, it's time for you to go out and explore, don't just hide in space. You must visit some important planets. Caught off guard, Chen Luo stood frozen for a moment, thinking I was planning to make a big move at the auction before going out to stir things up. But Rice playfully added, be careful, though you might get hurt this time. I suggest it's better to get a little injured, it makes the fish easier to catch. After finishing her statement, Rice directly pushed Chen Luo out of the space. At this moment Chen Lu was a bit stunned but resolved to visit his friends Richard and Sentai on the happy planet. The sudden visit frightened both of them. Richard, feeling resigned, said, why didn't you hide? Now that you've brazenly shown up on the planet we're guarding, we have no choice but to take action against you. Chen Luo with a grin responded, I understand, it's your duty after all. Let me help you out then. With that he used a void banishment technique to send him miles away. However, at that moment, Albert appeared in full armor, causing the ground to tremble in space itself to crack. He coldly said, last time you escaped by luck with a sneaky attack, this time let's see where you can run with the space breaking apart. Chen Luo smiling disdainfully, just you. But suddenly sensed another murderous presence nearby. He instinctively prepared to use void walking to escape. But then remembered Rice's advice that getting injured might be beneficial. Right then a dark shadow struck like lightning, stabbing him with a sword. Fortunately, the blow wasn't fatal. Albert, witnessing this, exclaimed, and surprised, Black Spirit, how is it you? Are you healed from such severe injuries so quickly? Hearing this, Chen Luo immediately thought of leading Black Spirit to a secluded place. He dramatically spewed a 2-meter high spirit of blood and exclaimed, you despicable sneak, resorting to a surprise attack. Upon hearing this, Black Spirit immediately showed a smug look of triumph and said, today is your day to die. Chen Luo then hurriedly took out 3 vitality restoration pills and stuffed them into his mouth. Seeing this, Black Spirit immediately gloated, it seems my sword earlier did quite a number on you. Otherwise, why would you gobble down 3 pills at once? Chen Lu then immediately vanished from the spot with a void walk. Much to Albert's dismay, didn't I shatter the space? How did he manage the void walker? How can we catch him now? Black Spirit was quick to pursue, sneering as he did so. When I ambushed him earlier, I infused a strain of law power into his body. No matter where the kid flees, I can track him down. Seeing Albert following, Black Spirit quickly said, I alone then, enough to deal with him. You don't have the ability to hide, and being spotted by him will only make him run faster. Hearing this, Albert nodded then, I wish you good luck. Soon Black Spirit caught up to the panting Chen Luo by following the Son of Law. Delighted at the sight, Black Spirit thought, it seems this kid can't use void walk continuously anymore. Let's see where you can run today. But just then Chen Luo's breath suddenly steadied and he stared at Black Spirit with a sinister smile like he was sizing up prey. Feeling a chill down his spine, Black Spirit couldn't help but feel a trace of fear. Shouldn't he be the one afraid of me? How is it turned around? Thinking this, Black Spirit immediately swung his sword fiercely at him. Chen Luo sneered and instantly used Voidwalker to appear behind him, immediately casting time reversal on him. Black Spirit turned around bewildered, looking at Chen Luo. If you can still use Voidwalk, why don't you run? Saying this, Black Spirit erupted with a terrifying pressure and immediately struck him with dark abilities. Chen Luo did not retreat, but continued to cast time reversal on Black Spirit. In the next moment, two defensive laws appeared around him, blocking off Black Spirit's attacks. This scared Black Spirit quite a bit. How do you have defensive laws and dan two of them? Aren't you only supposed to have the laws of Voidwalk and spatial teleportation? Regaining his composure, Black Spirit looked at you, Chen Luo, as if seeing a ghost. You actually have for laws. Were you pretending earlier? Hearing this, Chen Luo sneered dismissively. Surprised or not unexpected, Black Spirit swallowed hard. You've grasped for laws in less than 2 years. I must say your talent is incredible, but what of it without a single offensive law? I might not be able to do anything to you right now, but what can you do to me? Without a word, Black Spirit turned and fled, muttering to himself, I must bring this news back to the third prince. Seeing him attempting to escape, Chen Luo laughs. Did I say you could leave? With a wave of his hand, Black Spirit found himself bewilderedly back to where he started, which scared him considerably. Voidwalk can be applied to others as well. Seems like escaping won't be so easy. With a grim face, Black Spirit said, what do you want? I'm not even pursuing you anymore. What more do you want without a single offensive law? Can you even hurt me? Kun Liu ignored him and continuously applied time reversal on him. But then Black Spirit suddenly felt a loss within him, resisting something while his body began to undergo some changes, the most noticeable being a rapid recovery of his previously depleted abilities. Meanwhile, Chen Luo looked at him with a face that seemed to be looking at a dead person. Suddenly Black Spirit lunged at him again, only to feel intense pain spreading throughout his body the next moment, causing him to nearly lose control of his bladder and shout, what have you done to me? With a slight smile, Chen Luo responded, guests. As soon as he finished speaking, wounds from half a month ago began to reappear on Black Spirit's body. Desperate, Black Spirit shouted, how was this possible? The third prince said, you have a time crystal. Are you using time reversal on me? How have you mastered time reversal so quickly? As a secondary transplant of the time series, however, all he got in return was Chen Luo cold mocking laughter. Then sparks mixed with lightning began to emerge around him and started eroding his body. Within just 2 minutes, Black Spirit collapsed on the ground, unconscious. Chen Luo swiftly removed Black Spirit's spatial ring to prevent him from destroying it in a last-ditch effort. Observing the sparks and lightning emerging from Black Spirit's, Chen Luo sensed the dangerous. Alright, he didn't have time to confirm as Black Spirit was quickly killed by this mysterious force. Without hesitation, Kun Liu skillfully extracted the crystal from Black Spirit. Using time reversal on Black Spirit had given Shan Liu some insights into the technique, filling him with excitement. I must seize this feeling and comprehend the law, he thought. Chen Luo immediately released Nan Nan and Mang Mang, anxiously instructed Mang Mang quickly prepare the tea. Upon hearing this, the two sisters did not delay and soon brought over the brewed enlightenment tea. After taking a sip, Chen Luo immediately began to focus intently on understanding time reversal. As he repeatedly ran through the process in his mind, he soon grasped some intricacies of time reversal. About an hour later, the energy consumption of using time reversal had reduced by more than 50%. However, this did not elevate him to a divine level of mastery, which left him somewhat disappointed. Meanwhile, the third prince was trying to contact Black Spirit using a communicator, but after multiple attempts, there was no answer and even the location signal was untraceable, which made him uneasy. Could that guy have entered an area with no signal, or is his communicator broken? He wondered. Unable to reach Black Spirit, the third prince called Albert to inquire about Black Spirit's status. Albert responded with resignation, we were together trying to capture Chen Luo, but he found me bothersome and sent me away. Hearing this, the third prince could only end the call with a sense of resignation, thinking that Black Spirit must have entered some special area, which was why he couldn't be contacted. The idea of Black Spirit being killed by Chen Liu, who was without an offensive law, was instantly dismissed by the tea. At the same time, the aura of Thunder King underwent a significant change. Chen Luo's eyes brightened as he thought to himself, this kid has finally reached the demigod level. However, He was still somewhat too disappointed considering that apart from him Thunder King was the one with the best talent on Blue Star, yet he hadn't achieved godhood immediately. Without any delay, Chen Luo handed over Maleness Crystal to Thunder King. Mommer lightning abilities are similar to Thunder King's. Absorbing his crystal should help Thunder King and understanding the law. Unexpectedly, just at that moment, the four laws within Chen Luo's body suddenly left him and flew straight out of the special ability space. This sketched Chen Luo considerably, prompting him to quickly chase after them, only to discover his four laws causing trouble. They even blocked the Thunder Law outside the door. At first Chinua was stunned at the sight, but then he became overjoyed. I knew it, but Thunder King has never been weaker than anyone in his life. How could you miss out on becoming a god here? So he hurriedly called out to the Thunder King. As soon as Thunder King appeared, the Thunder Law immediately flew to his side and began to transform his body surrounded by the roaring thunder. Thunder King looked like a god of thunder descending to the human world. Once the transformation was completed, Chen Luo rushed forward and clasped Thunder King's shoulder. Today is a great day. He must have a couple of drinks to celebrate. However, before he could finish, Thunder King spoke in a low voice. I've already decided, after becoming a god, I'll go out alone to train. Your current enemies are too strong, and even if you let me out, I wouldn't be a match for them. I'd only be a burden. I don't want to spend my life hiding in this special ability space without being able to help you. Hearing this, Chen Luo was stunned and at a loss for words. He wanted to consult Risa about what would happen if Thunder King went out on his own, but was stopped by Thunder King. Why ask her? Fate is predestined and wealth is in the heavens. This is my choice, and no one can change it. Don't worry, I'm just going out to train. At this, Chen Luo flustered handed over Norton's armor and two purple crystal cards to Thunder King, who refused them. You may owe a debt to the dog, but the dog doesn't want to owe you too much. Helpless, Chen Luo had to accept Thunder King's decision. If you're in danger, Rice will give a warning. Going there to help you is just a matter of teleportation from me. Meanwhile, in another place, Norton contacted Carolyn saying you should look for someone else. It's not that I don't want to make armor for you, but my space ring was stolen by a scoundrel named Huan Ling. Your armor is inside that ring. If you can find that fee for yourself and stop calling me to bother me about it. Carolyn was stunned by this news. But just then an elderly voice came from behind her. Carolyn, you're quite punctual. Every time it's nearly time to harvest the enlightenment tea, you always come early. Carolyn responded with a slight smile. Who might this be with you? Eugene introduced. This is my adopted son from Blue Star. His name is Yuri. You've come at the right time. He's also a psychic. Maybe you can teach him when you're free. Carolyn was shocked to hear this, thinking to herself how much Yuri resembled Eugene's missing son, which is probably why he was adopted. And agitation, Carolyn explained, Uncle Eugene, it's not that I'm unwilling to teach him, but I have more important things to do right now. The armor I asked Norton to make was stolen by someone named Huan Ling. I need to get my armor back. Eugene acknowledged the unrest, mentioning things seemed to be a bit unsettled lately. Not too long ago, the third prince's house was also robbed by someone named Chen Luo. These people are really bold. Yuri was stunned upon hearing this, thinking to himself, watch Chen Luo, the leader of Dawn City. You've actually made it to the stars. No doubt the two people Uncle and Carolyn are talking about must be you. At that moment, a marquis from the Woolsey Empire suddenly approached Eugene. The task you entrusted to me last time has been completed. Yuri was shocked at the resemblance between himself and the newcomer, wondering why does this person look so much like me. Then the Marquis spoke solidly. While I couldn't find your son, I did find his descendant. This is your grandson Yuri. This made Eugene extremely happy, quickly moving forward and excitedly grabbing Yuan's hand, incessantly saying, my dear grandson, you suffered. This moment made Yuri feel a hint of unease, thinking to himself, now that the adoptive father has found his direct bloodline, this is definitely not good news for me. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Kun Liu was inquiring Demenchi, why doesn't tonight's dinner include my favorite fiery cloud steak? Demenchi informed him the fiery cloud steak is all out. How about I go out and buy some more? Hearing this, Jinlu chuckled and said, no need to trouble yourself, I'll be faster, just given me the supplier's address. But Demenchi replied, only I can acquire such ingredients. However, I know another steakhouse that features fiery cloud steak as their specialty. They surely have a lot in stock. This place is on Happy Planet, not far from my cloud dining restaurant. You can go there to buy some. At that very moment, Albert was dining at this restaurant with his wife and daughter. Suddenly he heard a familiar voice, where's your manager? Call him out for me. Turning his head, he saw Chen Luo and thought to himself, isn't this guy supposed to be chased by Black Spirit? How did he end up here all of a sudden? The approaching waiter also recognized this person as Chin Lu, which scared him immensely. He hurriedly shouted, Lord Albert, save me. Upon hearing this, Albert Splatter shuddered as he nearly wet himself, muttering under his breath, Tam, I really should be thanking you.